Leave Natalie Harp alone. You know, these people on the left in the media, not just CNN, all of them, that are accusing Natalie Harp of being the worst thing a woman can be, really, is what they're accusing her of, is one of the most low-life moves I've ever seen from the left. Here you've got this beautiful girl, Natalie Harp. She does an incredible job. She's a Trump loyalist. She's a MAGA girl. She's a cancer survivor who lost her father under some very tragic circumstances. Think about everything Natalie Harp has been through. She was given cancer diagnosis and told to go home and there's nothing we can do for you. Because of President Trump, she's alive today with his right to try. She lost her father under just god-awful circumstances. It's difficult enough for a child to lose a parent too soon. And then to lose her father in the way she lost him, on top of the cancer that she had to deal with, that is a hardship that very few people could deal with. I mean, that's enough to break a person. And here she is. She's dedicated her life to the greatest political movement and civil rights movement in the history of the United States, and that's the MAGA movement. And with the left, the Trump derangement syndrome sufferers, the Democrats, CNN, and the media are putting Natalie Harp through right now is the kind of thing that is so incredibly overwhelming to someone. Look at this story. Fox News. CNN mentioned 35-year-old White House aide at least 132 times since Monday, transcripts show. And that was as of this reporting, which was 6:57 p.m. last night. You could probably add another 100 to it, at least, on CNN alone. You know, the left will tell you, the Democrats will claim that they're the defenders of women against sexism and all of these things. And then look what they've done. They hate President Trump. Here we are in an election year. They're getting creamed in the midterms. They have no superstar candidates. All their candidates are dysfunctional. Wait until you hear the new one on Ahmed. Got something new on Ahmed today. If yesterday's breaking story on Ahmed wasn't enough, right? Graham Plattner, the Nazi, Ahmed. They've got Nixon in Florida. They have weirdos and nutbags as their candidates. They have no political agenda. The Democrats have no platform. There's a civil war going on inside the Democrat Party because the Democrat socialists are making a move to take over the Democrat Party. So they've crafted this false narrative, and this is what the left and the fake news media at CNN and elsewhere, who will tell you that the defender of women, they're putting a scarlet letter on Natalie Harp. And I'm going to tell you with 100% certainty, there's nothing inappropriate going on between the president and Natalie Harp. Nothing. Why but what we're seeing in the media right now is the crafting of a false narrative, right? They got their false narrative going. They're going to keep going with it. And if you notice, it's been 2 days since I've seen an update on the starving sailors on the USS Abraham Lincoln, because that failed. They were trying to get a false narrative of the starving sailors on the Lincoln, which was totally a lie. It was totally debunked. The photographs were fake. And that story's disappeared because they dropped it. And the reason they dropped it is they knew it was about to fail, so they couldn't continue with it. So now they're moving on to another one. In place of a platform of candidates, of issues, they're trying to create this lie and try and manifest it that Natalie Harp and President Trump are involved in some kind of inappropriate relationship. Give me a break. Give me a break. First of all, they've been building up to this, right? This "where's Melania" nonsense. So what they're trying to do is turn the "where's Melania" is that Melania is so upset about Natalie Harp and her husband that she's stormed off somewhere and living elsewhere, refusing to do appearances. No. Melania, because there's an assassination attempt about every 10 days to 2 weeks on either the president or a member of his family, Melania is lying low for her own safety, and it's probably President Trump's recommendation that she do so. And I think most people know this. But the left, they don't care. The left, Trump derangement syndrome is a new strain of the liberal disease, okay? Liberals have always been low-life scumbags. There's never been a period in the existence of the Democrat Party where they haven't been low-lives, immoral scumbags. If you can tell me when they weren't, I'd be happy to hear it. But what they're doing to Natalie Harp is disgusting. Let's go through this story. This is in Fox News. A White House aide is becoming a household name due to a feeding frenzy by liberal media stemming from a comment by an ambitious Democrat. That's Ossoff. Boy, but I tell you, Fox News suck. Right? Don't they really? Absolutely they do. Senator John Ossoff, Democrat, Georgia, whose polls currently suggest will win re-election, has already been generating 2028 presidential buzz. See, what's going on with Ossoff is he's auditioning. This is an audition. They thought Graham Plattner was going to be their star. Then that Nazi tattoo came up, and then they had to get rid of him. They thought Ahmed was going to be their star, and then, he's got these strange connections, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. So now they're auditioning their latest from the casting call, and that's Ossoff, right? He went viral over the weekend after he suggested Trump was having an inappropriate relationship with his personal aide, Natalie Harp. Ossoff claimed Trump would rather build a ballroom and travel with Natalie than do his job as president. The comment drew instant backlash from conservatives. When asked about it on MS Now, Ossoff insisted he referenced her merely as Trump's security blanket and nothing more, leaving conservatives to pummel him as a coward for not standing behind what they consider to be a sexist innuendo. Yeah, because he was booed by his own fake crowd. Still, that hasn't stopped the media from obsessing over the 35-year-old White House aide. The New York Times published a profile on how Harp emerged in the national spotlight after Ossoff's comment. She never takes a day off, not even on Sunday. A lot of people that are MAGA are hardworking people. Do I ever take a day off? Rarely. She works out of the Oval Office. She's got a regular seat on Marine One. She texts with world leaders on the president's behalf. She stays up late with him drafting social media posts. She rarely speaks on camera, and yet she is never not there, ever present, with a wide smile and her eyes fixed on the president. Well, yeah, he saved her life. She's a Trump loyalist, and she's his assistant. These are things that assistants do. They used to call them secretaries. Now they're assistants, because secretary is somehow sexist, I guess. You're not allowed to be she's taking transcription. Instead of in shorthand on a steno notepad, she's doing it on True Social or in text messages. She's a platinum blonde geyser of positivity, there to buck him up when the going gets rough, the paper wrote, the New York Times, right? Adding how she's often referred to as Trump's human printer for giving him hard copies of documents with her portable printer. Yeah, he likes hard copies of things. I get it. Harp has received overwhelming coverage on cable news. Her name has been mentioned at least, now this is as of last night, her name has been mentioned at least 86 times on MS Now since Monday, and mentioned a whopping 132 times in the same period on CNN. CNN made headlines with the story, citing unnamed sources, alleging Harp jumped into an SUV trunk, SUVs don't have trunks, to ride with Trump for an October 23 court appearance because she wouldn't take no for an answer when the vehicle didn't have enough room. The network also drew in... Now, if she was the president's girlfriend, do you think she'd be riding in the back, or would she have a seat? Brian Stelter said, it mounts to a victory for Ossoff, crediting him with the art of the viral clip. I don't think so. His travel with Natalie line showed a sophisticated understanding of the social media environment. It titillated, provoked, and enraged different audiences simultaneously, Brian Stelter wrote. All right, I'll get more into this when the radio show begins, and I want to break this down in some detail because I'm really disgusted by this. You know, as a husband, as a father of a daughter, unfortunately, Natalie Harp doesn't have her father anymore. He's no longer with us. But I think all the MAGA dads out there can pick up the slack and show some good fathering to Natalie Harp and help her through this wave of scumminess that we're getting from the left. If you're new to the program, welcome. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Welcome to the program. And if you would like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, I do have a lot to cover today, and I'm going to cover a lot of issues. The radio show will begin in just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to get into a lot of detail on this Natalie Harp story because I'm so disgusted by what the left are doing with it. And she needs defenders out there. She really does. Not that she's done anything wrong that we're defending her from, but she is being ripped up and attacked in the media by some of the biggest lowlives in America today. And I'm pretty fed up with it. I really, truly am. I'm fed up with their treatment of our president, and I'm fed up with what they're doing with her. And I'm going to get into, and I pulled up, and I'm going to play some of this. I'm going to play some of her speech at the Republican convention because we haven't really heard her speak. And she's a nice girl, and she should be treated with some respect, right? She should be treated with some respect, but she's not because the liberals are lowlives. That's it, that's it. They're just complete lowlives. And, how can you be a party claiming to be the supporter of women and women's rights and the feminist movement and all of this when you accuse a woman because she's young and pretty, you put the scarlet letter on her and are accusing her of being a homewrecker, right? I mean, have you no integrity, dignity, decency? I don't think so. I don't think Democrats have any of that. The Trump derangement syndrome, whatever dignity, whatever decency they had, and they probably didn't have it before, they just can't contain themselves. The end justifies the means. And if it hurts Trump, they want it out there. All right, let me look at the time here because we're going to be on the radio in 2 minutes. So when the radio show opens up, I'm going to get into some details about what these scumbuckets are doing. I'm going to play some of Natalie Harp so we can hear what she's like and hear her story. Because her story is, it's a powerful story. I mean, her speech at the RNC convention in 2020 is like a TED Talk. It really is. And I'm going to play some of it when the show, we got a little over a minute. If you want to call in, you can. The number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free, no matter where you are. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And if you're new, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. And if everyone could like the video, I'd appreciate that, guys. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like the video. We have 1 minute until the radio show begins, and then I'm going to jump right into it and take your calls. Women out there, this is a terrible thing that women have to go through. They're calling, what they're accusing her of being are things that I'm not going to use the words. I'm being kind when I say they're putting the scarlet letter on her. She's done no wrong. She's done nothing. And the pressure that Natalie Harp is going through right now is intense. She's not used to this kind of thing. All right, we got about 20 seconds. 15 seconds. And the radio show will begin. So then I'm going to go right into it. Welcome. Yes, this is where MAGA comes to talk. I'm Brian. All right, let's go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and boy, oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. You know, I've got a lot of stories and a lot of issues that I'm going to cover on today's program, but I felt, when I was going through the news this morning, I came across two things, and I said, this is what I'm going to open with today, because it's got to be done. And I'm talking about these terrible, slanderous things that the media are saying, the Democrats are saying, the liberals are saying about Natalie Harp, the president's assistant. Those out there in the media that are liberal, Democrats as a whole claim to be the party of women and women's rights. They stand up for women. Women should be believed. The Me Too movement, the ERA, all this stuff. And here you got a young girl who's just has she's had a rough life. Her life was saved by the President of the United States. She's the president's assistant. And because she's young and pretty and doing a good job, they're accusing her of having an affair with the president. Natalie Harp, as of last night around 7 p.m., CNN had mentioned her 132 times. I'm sure it's 200 by now. Can you imagine the pressure she's going through? She's a cancer survivor. When she was at her age, she survived cancer because of President Trump's right to try. And when she was diagnosed and seeking treatment, doctors told her, there's nothing we can do for you. Your life's over. Go home and get comfortable. Her father, she lost her father a few years ago under incredibly tragic circumstances, which I'm not going to get into. It's just awful. It's so difficult for someone to lose a parent at any age. She lost her father when she was in her 20s under very terrible circumstances. And maybe President Trump has taken over a bit of a father figure role for her, which is normal in these situations. But you look at the life that she's been through and the difficulties that Natalie Harp has gone through, and now you have the entire fake news media around the world putting a scarlet letter on her and calling her a homewrecker and saying things, really the worst things you can say about a woman. Imagine the pressure they're putting under her. And why are they doing this? It's simple. It's an election year. They have no candidates. They have no party platform. They have no party positions or issues. So they're crafting a false narrative, or at least they're attempting to. They're attempting to craft a false narrative to damage President Trump, to cover up that they have no candidates, no platform, no issues. So I'm going to go through this in the beginning of the show, and your calls are welcome. And I'd like to hear from women in the audience. What women have to go through are things that men will never have to experience. Thankfully so. My goodness, if Natalie Harp was my daughter, I would be I would already have been on CNN. I would have demanded to be on CNN. And I wouldn't be on there defending my daughter because she doesn't need defense. I would be on there chewing out CNN for this scummy, lowlife, tabloid, I don't even want to call it tabloid journalism, but tabloid lies that they were telling about my daughter. And I think most fathers would feel the same way. So I'd very much like to hear from women, and those of you out there that are MAGA dads, imagine if this was your child. Our number is 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, do you still support?
Yeah, there we go. See what you get? See what you get? Little preemptive there. Democrats they used to say, there used to be this saying, if you're a liberal before 30, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative after 30, you have no brain. Let me tell you, liberals have no heart and they have no brain. Right? No heart, no brain. All they have is the raw emotion of hatred. That's what Trump derangement syndrome is. It's hatred. I want to play a little bit of Natalie Harp. This is, you've heard this reference that she spoke at the Republican National Convention in 2020. I'm going to play some of it. Here she is. She tells her story.
George Bailey is given a great gift, the chance to see what the world would be like without him. Tonight, Mr. President, we'd like to give you that same gift. Because without you, we'd all be living in Pottersville, sold out to a crooked Mr., or I should say, a crooked Mrs. Potter, with no hope of escape except death itself. I should know, because I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for you.
See that? The President of the United States saved this girl's life.
About 5 years ago, I was the victim of a notoriously deadly medical error. I survived, but only to be diagnosed with a rare and terminal bone cancer. You know, the Democrats love to talk about health care being a human right. But a right to what? Well, I'll tell you. To them, it's a right to marijuana, opioids, and the right to die with dignity. A politically correct way of saying assisted suicide.
That's right.
I was told I was a burden to my family and to my country, and that by choosing to die early, I'd actually be saving the lives of others by preserving resources for them, rather than wasting them on a lost cause like myself.
She's talking about doctors in the hospital, Nazi doctors.
And when I failed the chemotherapies that were on the market, no one wanted me in their clinical trials. I'd make them look bad. They didn't give me the right to try experimental treatments, Mr. President. You did. And without you, I'd have died waiting for them to be approved. Now with the coronavirus, everyone knows what that feels like to be waiting for a cure. But we've only been waiting a few months. Just imagine what 2020 would have looked like, fighting for your life without Donald Trump fighting for it too. In January, there would have been no China travel ban. Millions would have died. Millions more would have been infected. For there'd be no record levels of testing, no right.
So you hear her there, now she's going to go into code a little bit, but the president saved her life. Her doctors told her to go home and die. And because of President Trump and right to die legislation and orders, he saved her life. So, yeah, she loves the guy. I love him too. Don't you guys that are MAGA love him? How would you feel about someone that saved your life after your doctors told you to go home and die? Shame on you. If you're on hold, stand by. We've already had one indecent liberal today. Can any liberal even pretend to be a human being today? Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are located. We'll take a quick break and be right back. I mean, you guys, just shameless. Completely shameless. Okay, I'm going to play this when we get back. This is nuts. This is nuts. I've never seen. Look at the Drudge Report. Look at this, guys. Look at this. In the Drudge Report. They have this photograph like she's standing and waiting and all this nonsense. Bunch of articles here. I've never seen anything like this. I really, truly haven't. A poor girl. a cancer survivor. Yeah, if you're on hold, stand by. I don't know what it is about the left and what makes them so indecent. I have no idea. I really don't. Democrats, liberals never cease to amaze me at how low they are willing to go. I'll take calls when we get back from the break. So if you're on hold, stand by. 888-465-2631. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. 888-465-2631. The way I'm looking at this in many ways is like a parent. All right? But I've got a few things about this that I want to cover before I move on. But I got a lot to cover today. But if you're on hold, this is what I want to talk about right now. What they're doing to this poor girl. Just over a minute, and we'll be back. Unreal. It is unreal. Well, listen, if you want morality, you're not going to find it from the Democrats. That's a fact. Whatever, their morality, decency is a repellent to liberals. That's just the way it is. A complete repellent. All right, hang in there. About a minute. And we'll be back. Yeah, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. Yep, less than about 30 seconds or so. We'll be back. No, Democrats have no shame. Zero. 25 seconds. I mean, look at the ones in the chat and the things they're saying. They're whatever morality, it's like a switch. It's never been turned on with these people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Richie.
Hey, Richie. Morning. What's up, Richie?
Not for nothing, but she's a beautiful woman.
Well, hold on, Richie. While I answer, the phones are ringing off the hook. Yeah, go ahead. She's a beautiful woman, and
she's a beautiful woman, and this stinking media just President Trump is 80 years old, folks. 80, okay, and you were just a couple of weeks ago saying he can't keep his eyes open anymore, and you were trying to say he's worse than Biden was. Now you got him after a young lady like this. It's so, and I'm going to tell you who it's all about. The most disgusting, the most, I can't even words for this witch, Nancy Pelosi. Because this is Nancy Pelosi, the same woman that in the State of the Union ripped the whole thing up in front of the world. She's a disgusting human being. She's the one that says you just give a false narrative. You make something up, and then you let your press, the stinking press, run with it.
Exactly.
And this is what it's all about. One after the other. This is Nancy Pelosi. They ought to just play that over and over and over.
And I'm going to tell you, with Natalie Harp, okay? I don't want to get into the details of it, but you guys can look it up. Most of you know. She lost her father a few years ago under very tragic circumstances. Okay, in a very tragic way. And when you put a girl that has a history of that in her family under this kind of pressure, it is extraordinarily cruel and dangerous what they're doing. And that's why I'm talking about this today. This is not a punchline, and it's not a joke. This is low. This is the lowest I've seen the Democrats go in years.
But you can't get any worse. I remember her when she was on One American News. She had her own show. I think it was on 9 o'clock at night. I used to watch her all the time. Yeah. Here's the deal with this, though. We're in a box, too. He's got to, people have to defend President Trump. I basically haven't heard him say much about it. I think he's trying to ignore the story because it's such a lie. But this is what Nancy Pelosi said. You put everybody on defense, even though we know it's a damn lie. You put them on defense. This is what she called a strategy. She's not a strategist. She's a witch. She's the most disgusting. Brian, I have such disdain for this woman. You have no idea. She destroyed the Democratic
Well, it's what
Party
you know. It's
because she has-
what they try to do, and I was talking about this yesterday in regards to the Florida Senate race when Ashley Moody went after Nixon. There's a difference when you're in politics. If you are responding to the other side, you're always losing. You want to be the one that's setting the narrative. So what they're trying to do is get the White House in a situation where they have to respond to this, and that puts them on the defense. That's what they're trying to do here.
100%. You know, and I love President Trump. You know, not for nothing. I love what he did yesterday. I think it was yesterday when he was having that news conference when they were breaking the ground of White House.
The helipad.
The ballroom.
Yeah.
That judge was supposed to have stopped everything, right? And you could hear all of the machinery. I think that was for our consumption. He basically said to the judge, that left-wing hack again, these people are so disgusting. It's beyond disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, Natalie Harp destroyed, but we're feeding it because what we're doing is we're getting.
I'm not feeding it, and I'm not. These people don't need defense. I'm reprimanding the left. I'm calling the left out. I mean, they need. I'm shaming them. Hey, Richie, I got to run, but I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, stand by. Give an example. This is the scumbucket New York Times reporter Maggie Haberman. She wrote that book recently. Okay, here she is on the Liberal Democracy Now! Podcast.
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the...
Okay, now this is what she's talking about here is that Natalie Harp was one of the people that got taken off of Air Force One in Turkey with the president, right?
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the ones we know about. The White House has refused to answer any questions about any of this, were Natalie Harp, who is his ever-present aide, who is known as the human printer, as Jonathan and I described at length in Regime Change, that, you know, she alarmed the Secret Service during the campaign because she left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it.
Okay, now let me go back about the note. I'm going to call 1,000% BS. Let me rewind it. This is Maggie Haberman, New York Times, talking about this note from Natalie Harp to the president.
You left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it.
Okay, so Maggie Haberman claims she's obtained it, not just seen it, has it. She's obtained a note, right? That a loving note from Natalie Harp to the president. Why isn't it the front page of the New York Times? Why isn't she holding up the note? That note would sell more newspapers than have been sold in decades. Think about that. So this New York Times reporter wants us to believe that she has obtained a love note from Natalie Harp to the president. She's obtained it, she said, but she's sitting on it and not showing it? That doesn't pass what we often refer to on the program as the smile test, right?
Spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it without getting into more detail.
So you write extensively about Natalie Harp.
Okay, so, and notice the question is, well, why have you not shown the note? Why are you not printing the note?
Regime change. Tell us more about her and why you think Ossoff's raising this and her name is being raised at this point. And
now you guys out there, is it at all credible to you that this New York Times reporter has obtained this love note from Natalie Harp to the president and they're not showing it? Are you kidding me? It'd be the front page of the New York Times, a love note to the president from his mistress. And she would be on every talk show holding the note in her hand, showing it on television.
But it meant for her to be one of the few people on this third secret plane with him.
I'll work backwards. Natalie Harp is essentially a body person, for lack of a better way of putting it, but she is, I described her as something like a human binky a couple of days ago, and that really is what she is. You know, he describes her, as we report in the book, to staff as, you know, somebody who loves him as much as his wife and children. And he would say to aides, you'll all go off and make money. You know, she's never going to leave me. And we don't know exactly why.
Oh, my goodness.
But I'm not surprised that Ossoff focused on this, because Natalie Harp is everywhere. She literally is in almost every Oval Office meeting.
She's his secretary. She's his secretary. They call it assistant now. You can't call girls secretaries anymore. But she's his secretary.
She was there when Jonathan and I went in to interview the president as a fact-checking interview for this book. And Ossoff, I believe, was trying to get a reaction, and he did, and the White House bit, and he was obviously making an insinuation. It goes further than our reporting. Trump was traveling with other people, but she's a taxpayer-funded staffer. It is not inappropriate to get asked a question about her by a reporter, and the president, all he did was draw further attention to this and how he handled that.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
Okay, yeah, and the note that she won't show anyone. Do any of you believe that Maggie Haberman from the New York Times is in possession of a love note from Natalie Harp to the President of the United States? All right, call is on hold. Hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, I found Friendly Tire in Margate out of necessity. Many years ago, about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't know how long it's been, I had a Jeep Wrangler that I bought used. It was a couple years old, and I got such a great deal on it. It had the oversized four-wheel drive tires, four-wheel drive. It was super cool. And the first time I had to buy tires, I realized why I got such a good deal on the Jeep Wrangler. Oh, my goodness. The tires, I've had many a car in my youth that cost less than the tires that I was getting quoted from these tire places around town. And I found Friendly Tire in Margate. And Friendly Tire in Margate has the lowest prices on tires you will find anywhere. You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And remember, out the door and on the road, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. And as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road on brand new tires, that's on common sizes on some of the most popular vehicles on the road today. He also has thousands of good used tires in stock, as low as $35 a tire, and that's out the door and on the road too. He does tire repairs. Give Friendly Tire a call. Friendly Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. You will never buy tires anywhere else ever again. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're located. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
What if you could understand the Bible as one complete story? From creation to Jesus to the fulfillment of end times prophecy. Now you can with engaging, eye-opening Bible study live streams where Scripture comes together in a clear, easy-to-follow way that will deepen your understanding of God's Word. Discover how the events unfolding in today's world fit into the bigger picture God revealed throughout the Bible. Explore biblical prophecy and what it says about the future. Compare God's truth with Satan's deception. Examine the evidence for creation versus evolution and gain fresh insight into the people, places, and promises found throughout Scripture. Whether you're new to Bible study or have been reading the Bible your entire life, these live streams will help you connect the dots, strengthen your faith, and better understand the times we're living in. Don't miss this opportunity to grow in your knowledge of God's Word. Join these life-changing Bible study live streams right now. Find the link in the description of this episode. Share the link on all your social media so your friends can join in too. Again, the link is in the description of this episode. Look in the description and click it right now.
Yeah, guys, that Bible study link is in the description. When you go there, it says Bible study, and then you'll see it. So if you could do me the favor of checking that out, it's one of our regular watchers here on YouTube put that Bible study together. It is very, very good. All right, stand by, guys. All right, we've got so much to cover. Oh, yeah, here's CNN's obsession. They're obsessed with it on CNN. All right. If you're on hold, don't go anywhere. And guys, if you could please like the video. When you like the video, you get the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like the video. Tell me yes or no in the chat. Let me see. Let me get a yes or no. Do you believe the lies here? Is the president having an affair with her? Yes or no? I say no. Yes or no? Is there an affair going on here? I say no. We'll be back in 1 minute. I say no. What say you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's a big fat no from me. 35 seconds and we'll be back from the break, guys. No, and it won't go anywhere. Nope. But I'm going to defend the woman's honor. I'm just disgusted by these people. Disgusted. All right, here we go. About 10 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Texas.
Oh, hey, Doc.
Hey, Brian. How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. How's the house? How's your wife?
Everyone's well.
That's good. Hey, quick thing. You was talking about, I think her last name is, how you say her last name?
Harp with a P.
Okay.
Like the musical instrument.
Okay, I just think she's over her head. I think she got there, she just tried to help Trump, and she's over her head. And I think right now, the best thing for her to do is ease on out the door. How do you say?
Mm-hmm.
And just be done with it.
Why? If she were to couple things. If she were to quit, they would use that as a confession. Okay? And number two, why be manipulated like that by the liberals?
I mean, I just think she needs to, because, to be honest with you, I don't know why she's even there. What's even her function?
She's the president's private secretary.
Yeah, he has already had a secretary.
No. She isn't like the secretary that answers the phone outside the office. You know, in the old days, like go watch an episode of Mad Men. The secretaries used to come in and do dictation with shorthand. Mm-hmm. She does his dictation on True Social and text messages, emails. She does his dictation. That's all.
Okay. I'm just saying, maybe, and if I was, like I said, maybe Melania, you could tell. Look,
well,
man,
I gotta tell you, this is a good moment for you, because you are being a gentleman. I can tell you respect women, and you're not comfortable with what they're doing to this girl.
I just think, like I said, she just needs to bow out.
Bow out.
Say, you know what? I'm done.
Really?
I'm done.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'm sure. All right, Doc. Appreciate the call. Give me a break. Yeah, let's be manipulated by the New York Times and CNN. Yeah. Okay. So this is now. Remember, as of 7 p.m. last night, CNN had mentioned Natalie Harp 132 times. Okay. This is Haberman on CNN again with Aaron Burnett. Now, Haberman, the one I played to you before the break. She claims to have this love note from Natalie Harp. She's obtained a love note, but she's not showing it to anyone. That's the kind of reporter she is. Why is she not showing it? Well, because she doesn't have it, would be my guess, right?
You note in your new article that Natalie Harp never takes a day off, not even a Sunday, right?
So how many of you work? I work 7 days a week. You guys that watch me on YouTube, my goodness, I did a YouTube live stream at 5 a.m. this morning at Starbucks before I came to the studio. Right? I do same things on Sundays. A lot of people that are MAGA work 7 days a week. And by the way, people that work in the West Wing, they all work 7 days a week. There's no days off when you're in the West Wing. And everybody understands that it's a limited thing. So you work yourself to death because that's what remember the show The West Wing with Martin Sheen? Right? That's what people in the West Wing do. They work 7 days a week. There's no days off in the West Wing. And there's no crying in baseball either. No, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Steve from Staten Island.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, it just seems this is exactly what the left-wing media does. It's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he's struck up beautiful, her story is just touching and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she's helping. And this is on Trump's side. Of course, it's going to, she could be this, it could be this, that.
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to damage a good person who's on Trump's side.
That's right.
If this was the same type of person who did it for either Hillary or for Biden, they'd be praising her as well, these left-wing media. So it shows how pathetic they are.
Yeah, and all the presidents, they all have personal secretaries that do their dictation. He can't sit around and be typing in the Truth Social and writing text messages. That's the new thing that executives do. Everybody knows this. And because of the way that her father passed away, she lost her father when she was young a few years ago in a very tragic way. And the stress that they're putting her under, this cancer survivor, after the way she lost her dad, is the most insensitive and disgusting thing I've ever seen the left do. This really is. This is really up there.
Yeah, definitely, because a person has one where she is, and as you said, the story of her father passing and all this, and to just try to attack her. I mean, shows they have no class whatsoever, these Democrats, especially the people in the news.
That's right.
I think Walter Cronkite is spinning in his grave when he's seeing how pathetic the news people have been. They've taken such a left-wing stance, which you're
exactly.
supposed to, and Walter Cronkite said it. He says we're supposed to be neutral.
Now, in this story, the New York Times reporter, Maggie Haber, she says she's obtained this love note from Natalie Harp to the president, but she's not showing it. That doesn't even, that's not, come on. Who believes that? If the New York Times reporter has a love note from Natalie Harp to the president of the United States, that is the most valuable love note ever written.
Right. It's probably just her laundry list. That's the only thing.
There's no note. There's
thing.
no note.
Exactly. Right.
All right.
Exactly.
Take care. Appreciate the call from Staten Island. So let me put this again. This is the reporter who claims to have the love note in her possession. She said she obtained it, and here she is on CNN.
You note in your new article that Natalie Harp never takes a day off, not even a Sunday, right? She is committed and she is indefatigable. How much does Trump depend on her?
Now, this thing about being unfatigable, as a child, Teddy Roosevelt was sick and near death all the time. And then when he was healed, he never stopped moving throughout his whole life till he died. Because he was so close to death at a young age. When someone, Natalie Harp's age, is facing death with serious illness and conditions, and they overcome it, working 7 days a week, going 24 hours a day is normal.
A lot, and it's important to note, Aaron, in our reporting, that story was by Sean McCreesh, my colleague, and me. Jonathan and I have separate reporting in Regime Change just about how Trump views her, and part of it is, he will describe to other aides and said this during the interregnum period, that, everyone else will go off and make money, she'll never leave, that essentially she is the person who loves him as much as his wife and children.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
she serves a specific purpose. In a White House, in a government, there are other channels, official channels of information. You know, she doesn't provide him with his national security briefing, the presidential daily brief. She is not the White House staff secretary, which is supposed to be the last step for paper flow. She's not the press secretary from whom certain media requests are supposed to come. She is a channel by which, as you said, foreign leaders try to reach him if they can't some other way. She is a channel by which he reaches people he sees on television, who he likes what they are saying, or that he will just send out notes to. She is with him so much of the day during those meetings, and she is talking to him throughout the evening about social media posts. So she is a specific channel of information, but she is one that he considers very important, and so do other people.
Every president has oftentimes it's a man, sometimes they'll call it the president's body man. You know, every president has an assistant like this that goes with them everywhere, travels with them everywhere, right? Wherever they go, they're at. They're just usually not this pretty. And that's it. You know, here's the thing. I've seen this before with Monica Lewinsky. When the Monica Lewinsky story, you know, and I'm not comparing Natalie Harp to Monica Lewinsky. Big difference here is the Lewinsky story was true. But when the Lewinsky story came out, we didn't see her for a year. And the only things we saw of Monica Lewinsky for a year was her White House page staff photograph. And then there was a video of her before the scandal broke at a Clinton speech where she was with a friend wearing the beret, remember? And she hugs the president, remember that, through the rope line? And that's all we saw were these two things of her for about a year or so. And then she had to show up for Ken Starr's deposition. She got out of the car and she had gained about 250 pounds. And the reason she had gained so much weight is because the media were doing to her what they're trying to do with Natalie Harp, reporting these things about her. And she sat in her apartment, Monica Lewinsky, eating potato chips and ice cream and pizza all day. And she gained all this weight. And then I remember when she got out of the car, I remember what the liberals were saying. Do you? I remember this like it was yesterday. It was so disgusting. They were saying, this isn't true. Why would Bill Clinton have sex with her? Look at her. They were fat shaming her. Remember that? Yeah, they were fat shaming. She wouldn't have sex with her. Look at her. She's so overweight. Remember that? So the left, who tell you that they're the defender of women's rights and they support feminism and women should be believed, when they can use and exploit women and destroy women to achieve their political agenda, they don't mind at all. And the things that they say about women, like they're doing with Natalie Harp right now, is disgusting. It's disgusting. Now, I've got some other stories I am going to move on to after the break. You're more than welcome to call in. If you're on hold, stand by about this throughout the show. I may have a clip or two that I haven't played yet. I got to look on this, at my stack of stuff. But I do have a lot of other issues I am going to cover today, but this is fair game throughout the morning. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are located. But first, I want to talk about Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano. You know, Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano, what they do is absolutely amazing work. If you or a loved one suffer from neuropathy, get something to write with. I'm going to give you Lighthouse Medical Center's number in just a moment. You know, we found Lighthouse Medical because Steve had neuropathy pretty bad, and his primary care physician told him that there was no treatment for neuropathy. That was his life. Go home and live with it. He begged and pleaded, and he gave him a referral to a neurologist who's a specialist. The specialist told Steve the same thing. This is your life. You have neuropathy. There's no treatment. It's only going to get worse. So wrap your mind around that. Go home and learn to tolerate the suffering, the pain, the dizziness, the falling down all the time. Then we found Lighthouse Medical, and Steve went over there. They have a treatment for neuropathy. Steve saw relief after his very first treatment, And after his treatment plan, Lighthouse Medical Center completely rid Steve of his neuropathy. That was about 4 years ago. His neuropathy has not returned. And I've met many of our listeners in this audience who have the same experience. Many of them have had neuropathy far worse than Steve had. No matter what stage of neuropathy you're in, call Lighthouse Medical. They have a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. The consultation's free if you mention you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. Oh, yes. Okay. I'm queuing up what I'm going to get into when we get back, so hang in there, guys. Hang in there. Now, when I get back, I'm going to get into Abdul. Listen to this. I got a couple clips of him. This is one of the clips that I'm going to play of him today. I'll give it to you guys early during the break.
In favor of public ownership models, like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point?
See, public ownership means seizure of private property, private companies, private businesses. That's communist. That's a communist revolution.
In favor of public ownership models, like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of democracy if it's not to protect us from existential risk?
Yeah.
And right now, there is no regulation. And
okay, so I'm going to play all of that and more when we get back. But all of these people that say, "Oh, it's socialism, not communism," and define socialism, define communism. Abdul here just defined communism. Okay, what he is talking about is textbook communism. He wants to seize private property. He wants to seize private business, private corporations. That is communism. It worked well in Russia, in Cuba, right? Oh my God, where in the world has communism not failed? It's failed everywhere. Yep, you're all welcome to call in. I see some strongly opinionated liberals in the live chat. The number works for you too. It's toll free, 888-465-2631. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. 888-465-2631. It's a toll free call no matter where you are listening. Mm-hmm. Hang in there. 20 seconds and we'll be back. Mm-hmm. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, so Ahmed, I got some things here on Ahmed. They tell us that the Democratic Socialists are not communist, right? Got a couple clips here. Here's Ahmed on a podcast interview.
In favor of public ownership models, like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership.
Okay, public ownership means seizing private business, private companies, and private property. That's called public ownership, when you seize it. That's what they did in the Soviet Union. It's what they did in Cuba and elsewhere.
In favor of public ownership models like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of democracy if it's not to protect us from existential risk?
Yeah.
And right now, there is no regulation. And so I just think it's really important for us to be thinking, what is democratic control over this industry? What does it look like? And I'm not the only one to say it. Like, Dario Amodei, who's the CEO of Anthropic, kind of came to the conclusion himself that at some point we're going to need public ownership of this because it's just too big and just too dangerous. And so, you know, whether that means like public representation on boards or a public oversight body over all of these corporations.
Oh my goodness.
I just think this is potentially existential. Democracy is supposed to fix these problems, and right now they're trying to slip democracy, and we cannot allow that. And so we need leaders who are both understand the technological risk and are not bought off by the industry itself.
Yeah.
Like, it is mission critical right now for our future.
Okay, so how is that not communism? Could you guys explain that to me? You know, it's really amazing. George Orwell's books, the two of the most important books ever written. The Bible, of course, is the most important. Okay, but after the Bible, if you were putting together a list of the most important books ever written, I don't know what I've never put together such a list, but in the top 10 would be George Orwell's 1984 and George Orwell's Animal Farm. You should read them both. Start with Animal Farm. It's a much lighter read, and even the liberally impaired can understand that. But in 1984 is about changing the meaning of words, right? War is peace, right? 2 + 2 = 3. You know, changing the meaning of words. And now they're calling communism democracy. We need a public ownership model in democracy, is what he said. That is the seizure of private property and business. This is everything Ayn Rand warned about. Now, here's Abdul in another interview talking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. This is great. This is wonderful. Yeah, Ahmed. He's the hipster Muslim communist.
You got to read Dr. Martin Luther King. You got to read the stuff that he actually wrote.
Yeah.
Malcolm X.
Yeah.
I learned what it meant to be a person of color reading Black folk and the civil rights struggle. And I understand that my responsibility is about trying to address racial inequity. You got
racial inequity? This guy's got 4 houses on 3 continents. What's he talking about? Inequality. I have 1 house, okay? He's got 4 on 3 continents, and he's talking about racial inequity? Maybe he's talking about me. Maybe he wants to better me. I don't know. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff.
Remember, the ultimate goal of communism is to replace God with government, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get rid of God. And they are the most godless, evil people on the planet. And they also want nobody to own nothing and to be happy about it.
That's correct. Because then we'll have democracy. Our public ownership model is democracy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's scary. And it's scary that, this happened in the 50s and 60s in America when they removed God from school.
Correct.
And they tried to remove him from government. But, even in the Old Testament, God always kept the remnant that he kept blessing a nation through, like Israel. And, we have to remember that God's in control. And I get mad sometimes just because that evil we see go unpunished, but ultimately when we all stand before the Lord, they'll be judged. But in the here and now, we are to preach the gospel and be instant in season and out of season. And right now, it seems like we're in the out of season to stand for truth. But I believe MAGA and God raised President Trump to bring back truth and justice to America, and we have to do it through voting. And that's why
the reason that
election...
the reason the communists don't like God and Christianity because it gets in the way of their moral code that they're trying to sell, right? And they want to be the decider of what's moral and immoral, right?
And anything goes with them. What we think is completely ludicrous, like abortion on demand, or these states passing abortion up to the moment of birth. That is just plain in your face. We are evil. We don't care. And I think that wakes up a lot of people.
Yeah, it does.
You know, they're passing these laws when they get the Democrat controlled and do what they want. And I believe the American people are waking up. And the Democrats.
Well, that's if you notice, Ahmed's not getting the publicity he was. You know, they thought he was going to be their superstar, and you don't see him in the news as much. They've moved on. Have you noticed that? Now they're into Ossoff's the new guy they're auditioning.
And it's absurd. These people are like, let's say, probably the best known is Newsom.
Yes.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
These are the best the Democrats have, or AOC. She's a loony bin. What was she, a bartender?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if that's true. I'd like to see her make some drinks at a bar. I don't mean serving beer or wine. I mean some mixed drinks that have multiple alcohols in them. I'd like to see her work a bar. I've never seen that.
Yeah. You know, and I just don't see how they can win in the midterms with they're standing on, because they have nothing to stand on.
Well, that's why they're crafting this false narrative that the president's got a mistress, because they have no candidates, no issues. They know they're losing, so they're trying to create a scandal.
Well, that's what they did in 2016 with Russia, and lo and behold, it all came out that it was a false narrative.
And Stormy Daniels,
all they have,
they're trying to relive Stormy Daniels.
But the best thing is they keep running their mouth, and all we have to do is watch them continue their collapse and demise.
That's right.
But Brian, we need to so much get out that vote. We need to talk to everyone that will listen and say, listen, we are not better off under a Democrat president. It's been proven time and time again. And things are so much better under Trump.
Absolutely.
And if he had the House and the Senate, it would be like igniting a rocket, and America would take off better than it is now.
That's right. All right, well, I appreciate the call, Jeff. Take care. If you're on hold, stand by. Here's another clip of Ahmed. He's in it. He likes to do Zoom calls. I got to sneeze, guys. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm allergic to liberalism, and all this talk from Ahmed with his communism, my allergies are acting up. This is Abdul. He's in another Zoom meeting, Abdul, your friendly neighborhood Muslim Marxist and Democrat nominee for the United States Senate out of Michigan, and he's with a group of other commies. Listen.
What Medicare for All does is, instead of having a whole bunch of payers, you have one payer, right? And that is the federal government. It ensures you the minute you're born, the minute you turn 26, the minute you get married, the minute you get divorced, the minute you get a job, the minute you lose a job, the minute you turn 65, it doesn't matter. You got one insurer. And because that insurer is the federal government, right, it sets prices for all of this care independent of who the actual provider is. And so rather than this escalating system that tends to raise prices, it keeps prices stable for everybody. And because it's the government, it covers everybody. And then on top of that, all of this crosstalk between payers and providers, that's really complex, and it requires a whole overhead system of various billers, et cetera, that go away because you've got one insurance program for everyone.
The billers go away. See, that's lib speak. That means they're going to seize and all of the insurance companies and run them out of business. Can you imagine? That's what he's saying. They do just have one single payer, the American people. And what we found out through the great work of Elon Musk and Doge is that the reason that socialized healthcare works in Canada and throughout Europe is we've been paying for it. with the unequal tariffs, right? We've been paying for the socialized health care of all these other countries. It's not a model that works. It only works if they can steal money from the United States and not pay their NATO dues on top of it. Oh my goodness. I tell you, these people, they'll never give up. Now, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Oh man. You know, every night when I put my head on that MyPillow, I have a great night's sleep. You know, the patented fill of Mike Lindell's, you can get the MyPillow for less than $20 with our promo code Kane at checkout right now, Kane. With that patented fill that Mike Lindell invented, what it does is it keeps your head and neck in perfect place all night long, and you don't toss and turn. You know, when you toss and turn at night, you're waking yourself up. You may not remember it, but you are. It's like having sleep apnea. And the reason you sleep so well is because the head tossing and turning stops with the MyPillow. It's less than $20 right now with the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, for huge savings on the MyPillow and all the other deals right now at MyPillow.com. That's promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone toll-free 800-716-4879. 800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back after our top of the hour break. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, yeah, I'm going to play this when we get back. All right. Hang in there, guys. Now, speaking of healthcare, those of you that are Medicare recipients or turning 65, call Chapter and speak to a licensed Medicare advisor at no cost to you, completely free. You know, Chapter covers all 50 states. So no matter where you're located in America, give them a call. And because they're a national company, they have access to all of the over 25,000 Medicare policies out there. They'll review your policy at no charge and make sure that you are getting all the Medicare benefits you are entitled to. There's a lot of Medicare benefits that you are owed, and Chapter, when you call them and you speak to that licensed Medicare advisor, will make sure that you're getting the benefits, all of them, that you're entitled to. They'll also make sure that you have the right Medicare policy for you. And if you have a supplement, they'll make sure you're not paying too much for it. Give them a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. That's 805-754-3033 for Chapter, all right? Give them a call. Okay, we'll be back shortly, guys. All right, hang in there. I'll be right back. Okay, we'll be back in just a couple of quick moments. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. And if you haven't done it already, please like the video. When you like the video, you get the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. And that really helps a lot, guys. What are you guys against a good night's sleep? Oh, my goodness. Nothing's better than a MyPillow. Ugh. Yeah, here's one of them right here. This is the My Pillow. It is so comfortable. You guys will love it. I've had this one for years and years. The patented fill, it's right there. Yep. You can get the My Pillows for less than $20 right now with the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Good deal. All right, less than a minute and we'll be back. Yep. Oh, it's a beautiful pillow. I love it. They're machine washable and dryable. That's right. That's how sick and twisted these Trump derangement syndrome sufferers are. They don't even want a good night's sleep, right? They're against a good night's sleep. Who'd be against that one? Who would be against a good night's sleep? That's the one I slept on last night. Mm-hmm. Against a good night's sleep. All right, the 7 o'clock hour has begun. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Welcome, one and all. So, we just gave birth to a national rock star 2 nights ago here in Florida, and that's Byron Donalds. You know, everyone in Florida, at least the MAGA people, which is most people in Florida, have been big fans and have loved Byron Donalds for a while. And winning the Republican primary in the state of Florida is making him a national rock star. And he is such a great, great role model for people. I mean, here's a guy with no political connections, no family money, right? He made his own way, and here he is about to become the governor of the best state in America, Florida. He will be the governor, and he's going to be a great governor. And he'll be president or vice president, or maybe both one day. He's going places. And when his 2 terms are up in the governor's mansion, if he's not president or vice president, maybe he'll be a senator first. Who knows? But he's pretty awesome. And in his acceptance speech, he made a comment about the guy that won for the Democrats, Jolly. And I was in shock when I heard this. And listen to this.
That on election night, that he wants to apologize for Florida to the rest of the world. Well, let's make something very clear to David Jolly. We are not going to apologize for Florida. We will not apologize for keeping our state open. We will not apologize for keeping our taxes low. We will not apologize for backing our police. And we will not apologize for protecting girls' sports. And we will never apologize for protecting parental rights. No one listened to David Jolly on MSNBC, and no one should listen to him now. He lost before, and on November 3rd, he is going to lose again.
Okay, so David Jolly is the Democrat, right? So when I heard Byron Donalds say that David Jolly on election night was apologizing to the state of Florida, I had to hear it for myself, so I went and pulled up his speech. I'll play you the clip. But centerpiece to his campaign has been this. This is like President Trump, Make America Great Again, right? David Jolly, the Democrat running for Florida governor, he's on an apology tour. This is what he's been running on. This is his election night speech to a very tiny room with very few people in it.
But I was driving across Alligator Alley a few months back, and I thought, what is the urgency of this? What is the passion behind this? And what came to me is something I want to have the opportunity to do on election night. When the cameras are rolling, I want to have the opportunity to say to the world, on behalf of the state that launched culture wars, we apologize. We apologize.
So he wants Florida to apologize to the world. For what? What are we apologizing for? Here he is again, and he's speaking to a church. I don't know what a politician's doing speaking in a church, but he's there. This is David Jolly.
The state, we're raising our kids in this state. But my wife and I ask ourselves every single day, should we raise our children in this state?
What? Think about this. So David Jolly, the Democrat, who used to be a Republican years ago, okay? David Jolly, the Democrat nominee for governor of the state of Florida, running against the great Byron Donalds, says that every day he and his wife talk about whether or not they want to raise their children in the state of Florida. So I'd like to, like with Maggie Haberman, with the love note that she claims to have from Natalie Harp to the president. She's obtained it, but she's not showing it to anybody. She's talking about it, but she won't show it. So David Jolly, this Democrat lowlife, wants us to believe him and his wife are in the car every day, somewhere. They're in the car, they're going to the store, they're at Publix, they're folding laundry together. And they sit around and discuss whether or not they want to raise their children in the state of Florida. Does that even sound like a believable thing?
The state, we're raising our kids in this state. But my wife and I ask ourselves every single day.
Every day. This is every day. This isn't some discussion they had just once. They have this discussion every day.
The state, we're raising our kids in this state. But my wife and I ask ourselves every single day, should we raise our children in this state?
Oh, my goodness.
That's real. That is our lived experience. Some of you with kids and grandkids, you know this.
I didn't hear any applause in that church. Is it a campaign finance violation for him to be speaking in that church? So he wants to go around Florida in this campaign, apologize for the state. Then him and his wife sit around and discuss whether or not they want to raise their children in the state. If you're embarrassed by the state and you think the state's damaging to your children, David Jolly, why do you want to be governor? And specifically, what are you talking about, David Jolly? What has Florida done to apologize for? You know, those of you outside of Florida, what we've started calling Florida a few years ago was, it was for a while. We dropped the DeSantis. We called it Ron DeSantis' Free Florida. And then when DeSantis betrayed Trump, we just started calling it Free Florida. When I've had friends that have moved to Florida from some of these blue states, Pennsylvania, Washington State, places like that. And it's so funny. When they come here to Florida, they feel like you know what they're like? They're like those people that escaped from East Berlin into West Berlin. It's like they've come from some oppressed communist state, and they're in the free state of Florida where you're free. And I've lived here almost my entire life, so I don't know another way. So anytime I talk to somebody who's new to the state, and I appreciate Florida even more. But what is David Jolly wanting to apologize about in regards to Florida? I'd love him to tell us, wouldn't you? Absolutely, but he will. It's going to be. He's going to say that we don't want drag shows in elementary schools or something. I hope he does that. That would be wonderful to let him talk about the drag shows in the schools. I don't understand their obsession with the drag queens and the performances in the schools. But Florida, the reason that property values are so high in Florida is because so many people want to move here, because we've got the best weather and we're free and we don't have a state income tax. So David Jolly, I'm going to contact the campaign and request an interview. I don't do a lot of interviews, but I think I'll request one from David Jolly. You think he'll do it? And I want to ask him, I only have one question. What do you want to apologize for on behalf of the state of Florida? Now, I don't know if they'll do the interview. I will put in a request, I promise you. I would love to hear that. What do you want to apologize? And he can apologize right here for the state of Florida on this program. Oh, my goodness. It's really scary, isn't it? I mean, he used to be a Republican. He was a rhino. And so he backs up what I've been telling you. Rhinos are really Democrats. That's right. Republicans in name only. They're really Democrats. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. Listen, if you owe money to the IRS, stop worrying about that certified letter, okay? call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. He'll take care of it for you. He's got a direct line to the IRS, and he'll take care of that for you. Even if you haven't filed for years and years, he'll take care of it for you. He's very good. Call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. Remember, Jamie Levac at Swift Tax can help you with your taxes no matter where you are in the United States. And if you're in one of those states that have state income taxes, he can help you with those too. If you missed the filing deadline this year, call Jamie Levac. He'll take care of it for you. If you haven't filed for many, many years, call Jamie Levac. He'll help you. He'll take care of it. If you owe a lot of money to the IRS, even if you've already made arrangements with the IRS to pay it back, call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. Let him look over it for you, okay? And if you are a business owner of any size, whether you're a large brick and mortar business with many, many employees, or a small business of being an Uber driver or part of the gig economy or anywhere in between, call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. Not only can he help you with your taxes, both your personal taxes, your business taxes, your payroll taxes, he can even help you with your bookkeeping. This number rings directly to Jamie Levac at Swift Tax, so you can call or text 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587 for Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. All right, we'll be back with more right after this. Okay, stand by, guys. We'll be back shortly. We'll be back shortly, guys. Hang in there. Okay, 40 seconds. We'll be back. Yeah, Yeah, I just came across something. I got to share. I forgot to share this earlier, so I got to get to when I was talking about Natalie Harp. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Welcome back, everyone. Call us on hold. Hang in there. The number to call is toll-free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. So I was talking earlier about this 1,000% fake news story that the president and Natalie Harp are involved in some type of inappropriate relationship. Her life was saved by President Trump with Right to Try. She's hardcore MAGA. She's the president's personal secretary who does dictation. The modern day dictation is not with shorthand on a steno pad. It's through social media posts and text messages. But she's his secretary. And I came across something I wanted to share with you this morning. But first I wanted to play this. I played this in the first hour. But the story of this alleged affair comes to us courtesy of the New York Times, okay? And Maggie Haberman says, when you get these people in the media, the fake news media are compulsive liars. And when they start lying, they start telling bigger whoppers, and they just start building on it. And Maggie Haberman from the New York Times tells a story to Democracy Now! That is so absurd, she discredits herself, I think, even to liberals, okay? So listen to this. This is the love note, right? We've heard about the love note. Here's her talking about it.
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the ones we know about. The White House has refused to answer any questions about any of this, were Natalie Harp, who is his ever-present aide, who is known as the human printer, as Jonathan and I described at length in Regime Change, that, she alarmed the Secret Service during the campaign because she left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it.
We've obtained it. So she has in her possession the most valuable note written in I don't know how long. First off, who writes notes anymore? Right? The writing notes is over. Things are done in text messages. But hey, President Trump's he's in an analog world. So Maggie Haberman tells Democracy Now! That she has obtained, she says we, I don't know if that's the royal we or the New York Times, but Maggie Haberman says, we have obtained this love note from Natalie Harp to the president. Is there any scenario in your mind that that's believable? And what discredits her story is that they haven't shown it. When's the last time any of you have written a note to someone? Right? When the Lewinsky affair exploded, that was a big deal. It was a big deal. I remember the Drudge Report. They had the siren on Drudge Report. The whole world stopped. But we didn't have this. Maybe later we had some things, but we didn't have a love note. So why would Maggie Haberman in the New York Times hold on to this love note from Natalie Harp to the president and not show it? Not only would that be the front page story of the New York Times, you would see a photograph of the New York Times front page photograph of the love note on MSNBC, MS Now, they changed their name, and CNN nonstop. And Maggie Haberman would be on every show holding the note in her hand. And so the very fact that they're not showing this note that she says that they've obtained tells us it's not real. It's that note is worth millions of dollars. And by the way, if it existed, it would be worth millions of dollars, not just now, but forever. When is the last time there's been a love note written to a president that's, come on. And my guess is when people are having affairs, they don't write love notes and leave them lying around the White House for New York Times reporters to snatch them up. That in itself, Maggie Haberman at the New York Times has discredited her own story. Don't you agree? All right, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, IB, morning.
Hey, IB.
I would simply just play the scenario out. First of all, if I went into the Oval Office and removed that beautiful statue Trump has sitting behind him, and I removed from the property, what would be the penalty? What would be the crime done? If you play out the scenario as if the note is real, then they have taken something from someone, which is stolen property, even if it's just a post-it.
Well, not only that, something's been stolen. Yeah, that's a story in itself. Something's been stolen from the White House.
Yes. So play that scenario out. Have the Secret Service go to the whatever the news station is, CNN, and play that scenario out and say this woman has stolen property and now she's using it against whomever on the television.
So you're saying it's extortion, theft, and now extortion.
Make her present it. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's extortion, but we will make them have to face the fact that it is a lie, just like the PP tape, just like the Russia. Okay, it doesn't exist. I mean, she's got a whole story behind a little piece of paper. These people just manufacture things as they move along.
Well, there's maybe there is, but there's no scenario in my mind where a New York Times reporter has in possession a love note from the president's mistress to the president. She said, we've obtained it, where they don't show it and release it.
If it was true, they would be like, what was her name on MSN? Rachel Maddow, when she got Trump's taxes, and she was so eager and found that he paid his tax, and it was like a nothing burger. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, this will turn out to be a nothing burger. All right, take care.
All right, take care. Yeah, because it's completely made up. And then this, okay, Eric Trump yesterday on X. He was talking about CNN interviewing Natalie Harp's weirdo brother. Remember it sounded like he was high? Eric Trump said, what absolute trash. Natalie is an incredible young woman, a cancer survivor, a genuinely good person, and arguably one of the hardest working people in the White House. She's deeply committed to my father, to her job, and to this country. This is Eric Trump talking, right? So he's on the inside. From the looks of it, she got all the family genetics. CNN continues to be a joke, right? So if the story was true, would Eric Trump be? No, he would stay silent. But on top of that, and the reporter from Democracy Now!, the follow-up question to the New York Times reporter is, could you show me the note? Also, how did you obtain this love note from Natalie Harp to the president? There's just certain things that stink here, and this is certainly one of them. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. We'll come back with more right after this. All right, hang in there, guys. We'll take a quick break.
What if you could understand the Bible as one complete story? From creation to Jesus to the fulfillment of end times prophecy. Now you can with engaging, eye-opening Bible study live streams where scripture comes together in a clear, easy-to-follow way that will deepen your understanding of God's Word. Discover how the events unfolding in today's world fit into the bigger picture God revealed throughout the Bible. Explore biblical prophecy and what it says about the future. Compare God's truth with Satan's deception. Examine examine the evidence for creation versus evolution, and gain fresh insight into the people, places, and promises found throughout Scripture. Whether you're new to Bible study or have been reading the Bible your entire life, these live streams will help you connect the dots, strengthen your faith, and better understand the times we're living in. Don't miss this opportunity to grow in your knowledge of God's Word. Join these life-changing Bible study live streams right now. Find the link in the description of this episode. Share the link on all your social media so your friends can join in too. Again, the link is in the description of this episode. Look in the description and click it right now.
All right, we're still in radio break, so if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones after the radio break. Now, that Bible study is linked up in the video description. Check it out, guys. They do 2 weekly live streams, but if you miss the live streams, they're all archived up there. It's a very good Bible study, and it's put together by one of our regular watchers here on YouTube. So check them out. I would greatly appreciate it, okay? And when we get back, I'll get to the phones, and I got a lot more to cover as well. I can't believe we just hit the halfway mark of the radio show. And an hour and 40 minutes in, because I started the live stream early, but this is the halfway point of the morning radio show. There's no scenario that the New York Times would sit on that story. There's just no way. There's no way at all. Just over a minute, and we'll be back, guys. Yes or no? Do you think the New York Times has this love note? Have they obtained a love note? And they're not releasing it. Why? They're not showing it. Why? Yes or no? Have they obtained a love note and are not printing it, not showing it? Give me a break. Liars. Less than a minute, guys. We'll be back. That note, it would be very destructive. Very destructive to them. All right, stand by. We got about 35 seconds and we'll be back. All right, hang in there. 20 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
David from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Pennsylvania.
Hey, what's up? So when the New York Times reported the Epstein note with the prepubescent girl, it was a couple of weeks or a week or two before they actually released the note. Was it fake before they released the note, or is it fake after they released the note?
I've never heard that story. I mean, now that's funny. Now you're making up stories that the New York Times hasn't even made.
Oh no, I'm not. If you go to Google and you put prepubescent girl Trump Epstein note, it'll pop right up.
You know,
Everybody's
this is what we're talking about today. All right, MAGA. Do you want to be a part of the conversation?
Oh no, I'm listening. I mean, it was the biggest story last year.
Okay, if you want to be a part of the conversation, I'm cool with that. But you know, you have to act like a grown up. Cool. I know you're liberally impaired and all, but try to be decent for a moment.
You're failing to acknowledge a note that exists. But all right, go ahead.
That's not. No, it does not exist. Now, the New York Times, Maggie Haberman. The fake laughter.
I'm listening.
Maggie Haberman.
It's hilarious to me. Go ahead.
Maggie Haberman at the New York Times told Democracy Now! That she has obtained a love note from Natalie Harp to the president. Why is the New York Times not printing this love note?
To make them squirm. They did the same thing last year when they said...
All right, appreciate the call. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Blind man from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, up. What's up, blind man?
It was going to actually blind colonizer, right?
Yeah, notes may be a sensitive topic for you since you're blind and all. You can't read them. But what's on your mind? I guess if they're in Braille.
Bro.
What's on your mind?
Yeah.
The last time I called, you were talking about the war in Iran and how we won.
Yes, we did.
We won on the first day.
Yes, we did win.
And you started comparing the Muslim fanatics, the Shia fanatics, to the World War II, the Japanese being loyal to the emperor. Some of the facts I didn't really understand, because being an emperor is not a god, so everybody knows
the Japanese.
that
The Japanese. I'll educate you a little bit. The Japanese believed that their emperor was a deity.
Okay, but have you heard of Shintoism?
I'm not into talking about Shia and Shintoism and all that stuff. You know, that's not what we're talking about. I like to have people listening, not awake, not falling asleep.
You keep stating that what's his name? The Secretary of State for George Bush, Colin Powell. You said he keeps saying that he went to the United Nations
and lied
and lied.
Yes.
About weapons of mass destruction. Everybody knows that he was fed wrong information by Cheney, Rumsfeld, and George W. Bush. He went
to oh, so you're saying Colin Powell was stupid?
No, Colin Powell, they just said, hey, let's send a black guy over to do our dirty work, feed him some wrong information, and that's why.
So you mean to tell me that Colin Powell, who reached the rank of 4-star general in the Army and was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was so stupid that he was fooled by George Bush?
And Cheney and Rumsfeld. I'm not saying ignorance.
What about Condoleezza Rice? Did Condoleezza Rice lie to him too, or was she fooled as well?
No, Condoleezza Rice knew it was a lie.
Oh, okay. So so Condoleezza Rice, all of them lied to Colin Powell. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's why in the second term he said, "I'm not going. I don't want to work for the Bush administration." Why would he do that? Because he
went there.
Fooled.
He went to the UN and lied. He held up this little vial that had salt in it and said, "If this were rice, and it could kill the whole country." All that stuff. Yeah.
I remember that. And then lastly, the last real debate that we had, the best debate I gave you, I pronounced a name wrong, or I got a name wrong. I said Ahmadinejad. It's Mahmoud.
Maybe my memory is poor, but you and I have had debates. When was this?
It was back in like July or something.
I have no recollection of having any debate with you.
Remember when I was saying the Palestinians are like Native Americans and stuff?
Oh, when you call the show, these aren't like debates. These are discussions. You and I have had discussions. We've never had debates.
Yes.
So are you very excited where Florida's about to have... Hold on, don't go anywhere. You must be very excited, even though you're blind and all, that we're going to have a black governor. Byron Donalds.
Oh, yeah. I kind of missed your show yesterday. Byron.
Hold on a second here, because I want to hear what the blind man thinks about our great new governor, Byron Donalds.
I'm disappointed. I told you I voted.
You're disappointed?
No. I'm disappointed that he's black MAGA. Yeah.
You're disappointed that he's black?
MAGA. That is black MAGA. He's Make America Great Again.
If you're blind, why are you so into skin color? You can't even see it.
Well, I voted for Trump, but he took all my benefits, and now I'm totally against MAGA. So I voted for
President Trump personally took your... What benefits do you no longer have because of Trump?
Okay, so the election was in November. I went, I voted. You told me, be careful at those voting booths. This was after election. I called you for the first time. And I voted in November. And then in December, after I couldn't do anything about it, they gave me a letter saying, oh, your Medicare, United Healthcare, healthy food benefits.
He wasn't... Hold on a minute. The December after the election?
The December, the month right after the
election. He wasn't president until January. Biden took your benefits away.
Oh, so Biden was
Biden took your benefits away. Yes, not Trump. Trump was not president until January after the election. That's what Inauguration Day is. Biden was president until then. So the auto pen took your benefits away.
Well, it said it'll be cut by $85+.
Well, that was Joe Biden was president the December after the election. Hey, listen, take care, blind man. See, they're good. I'm glad I kept him around. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Why'd you hang up on me, dude? I didn't hurt.
Because I was done. The conversation was over. It's one call per show. All right.
He says, "Why did it?"
It's one call per show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Did I tell you what the liberal told me about Trump derangement syndrome? If I didn't tell you, I'll tell you again. Anyway, he tells me, Trump derangement syndrome. I don't have Trump derangement. Because I told him, you have Trump derangement syndrome. He says, no, you have Trump derangement syndrome. The MAGA people have Trump derangement. They believe all the lies that President Trump talks about, and they're brainwashed, and they're too stupid to know that he's lying to you. And
yes.
I says, you're sick. You're sick. I said something like Natalie Harp. If they had any kind of information that was really that was a real love note, the media who hates Trump, have Trump derangement syndrome, and all the Democrats who have Trump derangement syndrome would have that 24/7 a day showing that Trump is having an affair. They have nothing. If they had something, they would show. Instead, they just talk and say stuff.
Well, Maggie Haberman says the New York Times has obtained this love note, but they're not showing it to anyone.
Yeah. Of course. There's nothing. And what kind of love note is it? I bet you if there's any kind of note...
There's no note. If there was a note, they would show the note, right?
They would show the note without a doubt. Without a doubt. These Democrats, the other guy who's running against Byron wants to apologize but doesn't say anything.
David
They like
Jolly.
to talk, but they never say... They always say Trump's a liar. They never say what he lies about. They always have something. And now I heard two candidates looking to go into Congress, Democrats, of course, saying that their campaign is, well, I'm against President Trump. So that's the only thing they can say. They have nothing else to say except that they're against President Trump and his policies. So these people are desperate. They're going to get, I think, creamed when it comes to the midterms. I'm hoping that.
Well, the reason I'm focusing on this today is I've been pretty by the way, Doug, thanks for the call. I've been pretty disgusted by the treatment of Natalie Harp, and then when I heard the New York Times reporter claim to have a love note that she's obtained, and she's not showing it to anyone, and they're not printing it. It's important not just to defend this poor girl who lost her father and is a cancer survivor, but point out what liars the New York Times. Remember Michael Avenatti used to go around saying he had some tapes of President Trump with Stormy Daniels. We never saw that either, did we? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Tom, Florida. Hey, so you're telling me that a guy who's had 3 wives cheated on all of them, right?
Nope.
That he can't have a
Nope.
side piece?
Nope. Is that how you talk about women?
Side piece. Is that how you
Is that
talk about?
excuse me? Excuse me.
Trump
Is that
Trump derangement
is that
syndrome.
normally how you talk about
Trump
women?
derangement
Side piece.
syndrome is flipped.
What's a
Trump can do no
excuse
wrong.
me? What's a side
Trump
piece?
derangement syndrome. Trump can do no wrong.
What is a side piece?
What is a side piece? It comes with KFC. You get your biscuit, you get all that stuff. You never heard of the side piece? Okay? You're literally such a schmuck. It's unbelievable. You can't even fathom that could be true.
I tell you what, I know you don't have a side piece.
Okay?
You have to have a first piece to get a side
Brian,
piece.
Guess what, pal?
What?
Think what you want to think, but at the same time, you keep supporting your boy, buddy.
Let me ask you this. Let's try to have a serious. Let's try to have a serious conversation for a moment. Let's try to have a serious conversation for a moment. Okay?
Yeah, like your serious radio show. Yeah, okay.
Very. Can you turn down the volume in the background? Can you turn down the?
Yeah.
Can you turn down the volume in the background? Do you mind?
Sure.
That's a side piece.
Go ahead, Brian.
What explain to me this in a serious manner, okay? Maggie Haberman of the New York Times. I want you to listen to this, what I'm going to say to you, because I want a thoughtful answer from you. Okay? The New York Times reporter says she's obtained this love note from Natalie Harp to the president. She's obtained it. Why would the New York Times not print the love note and show the love note? Why are they suppressing the love note if they've obtained it?
Brian, the matter of the fact is this. Due to the fact that you can't even entertain that a man who basically is pretty healthy doesn't really
No. If they had, the New York Times, hold on, the New York Times says that they've obtained.
I care less what the New York Times
says. They're the source of the story. They started this whole story about the girl.
You know?
Okay, so if they had a love note from the president's mistress to the president, why would the New York Times not print the story? Why would they not print the letter? Why would they suppress the letter?
What? Where did the letter even come from then?
She was at the White House and obtained it through White House sources.
Okay, so you're telling me that it's not worth telling, but then we still know about it.
No, the New York Times, she said, I'm going to play, after the break, I'm going to play the clip again. I can tell you're confused. I know. It's not logical, is it? All right, take care. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I want to talk about life imaging. You know, August is National Wellness Month. And not only is it the perfect time during National Wellness Month to go to life imaging for your heart scan, this is something you want to do every year. So make August your annual heart scan from Life Imaging. They're saving lives over there. You know, it was amazing. It wasn't long after I started talking to you about life imaging that I started hearing from listeners who said, hey, I took your advice, Brian. I went over and had the heart scan, and I found out that I have blockage. I had one listener that had blockage in every one of their arteries. It was different in each artery, but they had it, and they had no symptoms. They also, another listener asked them about the cancer screening, like I often tell you to do. Got the cancer screening, found out they had a tumor. They had no idea. Make August the month. You get proactive about your health. Go over to Life Imaging. You know, they have locations in Broward, Palm Beach, Dade, and in Orlando. When you're over there, make sure you ask about their full body cancer screening and virtual colonography and say goodbye to sedation. Call now for your free heart scan with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250. Just say free heart scan and you'll be connected in seconds. Callers on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. You know, even he didn't have the guts to try to say that they would sit on that. Let me pull it up again. Let me pull this up again and play it for you guys. This just does not, as Steve would say, pass the smile test, okay? Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is Maggie Haberman. She's the New York Times reporter. She has this love note. Listen, on Democracy Now!
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the ones we know about. The White House has refused to answer any questions about any of this, were Natalie Harp, who is his ever-present aide, who is known as the human printer, as Jonathan and I described at length in Regime Change, that, you know, she alarmed the Secret Service during the campaign because she left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it.
Wow. They've obtained it.
Without getting into more detail.
Hear that?
In his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it without getting into more detail.
So,
without getting into more detail, she's a Pulitzer Prize winning Did she get the Pulitzer for the Russia story? Hold on, we got about. If you're on hold, stand by. We've got about 90 seconds. Let me see here. What did she get the? What did she get the Pulitzer Prize for? Was it the Russia story? Obtain means you have it. You got it. We've obtained it. Yeah, she has a lot of nerve. Yeah, she got it for the Russia story. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's just over a minute till we'll be back. Wouldn't you stop using that credit after it was exposed? Oh my goodness. One minute, we'll be back. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It says White House reporter, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist for the Russia. That's not one. Oh my goodness. That's one you don't want them to mention. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in 30 seconds. I'll take some calls and we'll have to get back to this. Oh, my goodness. All right, 15 seconds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, there you go. There's the left. I just came across something with this. Let me play this for those of you in the audience. This is what I was talking to the caller before the break about. Okay, so the story's been going around on CNN for the last 3 days that the president is having an affair with Natalie Harp, who's his private secretary at the White House, okay? They've been running with this story for 2-3 days now, hardcore, on CNN. This is new, and it was broken by Maggie Haberman at the New York Times. She gave this interview on the Democracy Now! Podcast. Listen.
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the ones we know about. The White House has refused to answer any questions about any of this, were Natalie Harp, who is his ever-present aide, who is known as the human printer, as Jonathan and I described at length in Regime Change, that, she alarmed the Secret Service during the campaign because she left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it without getting into more detail.
So
we obtained the love note without giving more detail. Now, she is being billed. She's a New York Times reporter. She co-authored that book, and they have her on the screen. It says Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, Maggie Haberman, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, and I couldn't believe she has the guts to use that credit still. So I went during the break and just double checked because I couldn't believe she'd be so arrogant. She got the Pulitzer Prize for the Russia fake news story that's been totally debunked. And which shows that she's a fake news reporter. She's got a Pulitzer Prize that proves she's a fake news reporter. Now, a couple things here. One, there's no way that she has a love note from Natalie Harp to the president and they're not printing it. That's number one. That's not even that idiot I talked to before the break, he couldn't even wrap his mind around that, right? So there's no way. So the story is totally bogus, okay? But she's also, so you got to, why wouldn't you say more about that? Why is it not on the front page of the New York Times? Why is it not on X? Why are you not showing it on television? Also, Now think about this. Okay? So the story is that they're reporting the president's having an affair with this young woman in her 30s. She's writing him love notes, and they're just leaving love notes around for New York Times reporters to come in and steal. What's the penalty for stealing a document of any kind from the White House? Where did this letter come from? Where did they find it? Did they see it and grab it? Did somebody give it to them? There's been a theft from the White House here, if the story were true. And you don't get less credible than a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist from the New York Times who won the Pulitzer Prize for the Russia story. This Natalie Harp story is going to die quickly. Because of her giving this interview, telling this lie. I hope other people pick up on this like I've done today, because this seems to be the big story of the day. You know, if you notice, we haven't heard any updates on the starving sailors on the Abraham Lincoln for days now. That was a fake news story. That story's gone, right? What happened to the starving sailors and Marines on the Lincoln? No updates on that. And they replaced it with this fake news story. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Brian. This is Randy from New York City.
All right, Randy in New York City.
How are you today, brother?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind? Can you turn down the volume in the background if you don't mind?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Whatever device you're listening on. That's a great show. That's the best show I've ever heard going on there in the background.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Okay, so what's on your mind, New York?
Nothing. What's the topic on the day?
Nothing. See, this is how Mamdani got elected. New Yorkers have nothing on their mind.
Oh, I didn't vote for that schmuck.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't
Who'd you vote for?
Schmuck.
Who'd you vote for?
No one. I don't believe in it.
You don't believe
It's
in
all
voting?
Political theater.
You don't believe in voting?
No, the big Zionist elites like the Saudis and Benjamin Netanyahu, they all go in a room in the back rooms and decide everything for us, and then figure out who the top goy is going to be to fill that mantle.
What do you? Let me ask you. You're in New York. Things are pretty rough up there. What do you?
Sorry, excuse me?
You're in New York City. You said things are pretty rough. I hear. What do you do for a living in New York?
Yeah, I'm actually a home health aide.
Oh, okay. You're a home
I take care
health
of
aide.
the elderly. I work 50 hours a week, breaking my back, busting my hump.
So you work.
Barely making a living.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you live in the high taxation of New York.
Yeah.
So you believe? So
here.
this is interesting. So you think the Jews are behind the elections? Why would?
No.
Yeah, you said
No,
Netanyahu,
no.
the Zionist. The Zionists are Jews.
No. Hold on, may I? I said the Saudis.
You said the Zionists.
They've all teamed
the Zionist. Okay.
Did I say Saudis?
Hold on. Slow down for a second. You said Zionist. That's the Jews, right?
Yes, I did.
Why?
No. Zionism and Judaism are two completely different things, brother.
Oh my goodness. Are you sure you're a home health aide and not a patient?
I might be.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, now we're getting to the truth. Okay, that makes more sense. Well, explain to me why why a Jew would want a Muslim mayor of New York. Why would Netanyahu want a Muslim mayor in New York?
Right before Mamdani was elected, he sat down for a brunch with a group of big Hasidic people and basically kissed the ring between their cheeks.
So why would Netanyahu want a Muslim man to be the mayor of New York City?
So he can instill fear in the population.
Oh, I see.
Oh no!
Are you afraid?
It's a Muslim mayor.
Are you afraid?
No, of course not. Not any more than I was before.
Okay. All right.
New York is a very dangerous place.
I know. There's people like you walking around it. There's people like you walking around it. Mental patients.
Why Why would you say something like that?
Well, you're a bigot.
I've been
And
pretty
you're
nice
a bigot.
to the
Well, you're a nice bigot and anti-Semite.
How so? Because you're a top goy? You're trying to...
I'm a top what? What did you call me? Because I'm
You heard me.
What did you call me? A top what?
Goy.
What is that? What are you calling me? I don't know. What is it?
Goyim. A goyim. I'm not
I'm
calling
a top.
you a goyim.
I'm a
asking
top
you.
goy. What would that make me? What is a top goy?
That would make you a Mamdani or a Trump. A tool for the Zios and Saudis.
I'm a tool for the Jews and the Saudis. So in your mind,
No. You keep saying Jews. Why do you keep saying
because
Jews?
you say
keep
Zionist.
putting words in my
You
mouth.
say I'm not.
Zionist.
I am not going to put
Correct.
anything
so
in your
Zionist.
mouth. I'm not going to put anything in your mouth. Are you kidding?
Thanks. I wouldn't let you, or else I'd bite it off.
Okay. All right. Oh boy. See, I told you. See, we found out something. He's not a home health aide. He's a patient who has a home health aide visit, probably to tighten the straps around his arms and ankles. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, these are real people that call the show. I know it's scary to think about it that way, but these are real people. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Call us on hold, stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. Don't go anywhere. Oh my goodness, that was pretty brutal, friends. Pretty brutal. Man, oh man. This is nuts. I know, it's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, I know, we've had some winners today. No question about it. We've had some winners. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man. Crazy callers. Well, that's the business. You know, if we limited the callers to people that were normal, you know, you're taking out a huge bunch of the caller base of programs. You wouldn't hear from any liberals. You know, Michael Savage says liberalism's a mental disorder, right? You hear it all the time. Watch, he's calling back. I'm sure this is him. Hold on. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, bro? This is Randy. You got so afraid.
It's one. No, it's one call per show.
It's
one call per show. We're in break now, but it's one call per show.
I just wanted to speak to you, not on the show.
Yo, you're on the air. No, you're on the air. Why? Because it was time for a break. I had to take a commercial break for the top of the hour.
America or Israel first?
I'm not answering your questions.
I know you won't, you goy. You top goy. Very good goy. Good goy.
When is your aide coming over to give you your meds?
You're here, good goy.
What kind of accent is that? What kind of accent is that? What kind of accent are you trying to do?
I'm trying to do a goy accent.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what goyim are? That's what the chosen refer to us as.
Oh, so I'm what you are?
Yeah, we are goyim.
Okay.
If we're not what? If we're not, it's either Jews or Gentile. Mm-hmm. Are you a Jew or are you Gentile?
I'm not answering any of your questions.
Oh, that's maybe your listeners would like to know. How about that? Not for me, for your listeners.
Would like to know what?
Brian.
Would like to know
what?
Would
like to know the answers to these questions, such as America first or Israel first.
If people that watch me know. People that listen to me know.
Mr. Brian.
Hey, listen, I got to run. I'm coming back, but it's one call per day. Don't call back. Don't call back. Don't call back.
I'll call you back on another day.
You can call on another day. That's correct. You can call on another day. Oh, my goodness. Didn't I tell you he'd call back? He's nuts. Oh, man. No, we're still in commercial break. You think I'd put that back on the radio? Are you kidding? Doc from Texas makes Brian look like a fool. That's probably Doc from Texas in the chat room saying that. All right, we'll be back in about a minute, guys. A little less than a minute. Oh, my goodness. Unreal. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Oh, my goodness. Okay. 35 seconds. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, subscribe, and everyone, please like the video. If you've not already done it, please like the video. When you like the video, it gets the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So please like the video. 15 seconds. All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. We've had some real winners on the phones today, huh? You know, Michael Savage was right. Liberalism is a mental disorder, no doubt about it. And there seem to be some flare-ups in the audience today. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to some more calls as the show goes on. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. Oh, man. You know, Lincoln Riley, you know, when that illegal alien murdered Lincoln Riley, remember what she was doing? She was jogging. And he grabbed her to try to rape her. And he killed her. He didn't rape her, but he killed her. She defended herself. Listen to this. A 42-year-old mother was fatally stabbed by an El Salvadorian illegal alien in Great Falls, Virginia on Monday. Her name was Carmen. She was stabbed to death on a walking trail by 19-year-old Alexis Antonio Cadillos Campos. The two were known to each other and in a romantic relationship, authorities said. According to authorities, he repeatedly stabbed Carmen and then doused her with gasoline. The Department of Homeland Security, the Biden administration hand-delivered Alexis Antonio Cadillos Campos, got a lot of names. We'll add inmate to that, killer, to the streets of Fairfax County. He's a criminal illegal alien from El Salvador who was arrested by the Border Patrol in 2024 after illegally crossing the Biden administration's open border near El Paso. After his arrest, he was released into the interior of the country. So Biden, they had him and they let him go. The Biden administration, this is the statement from Homeland, the Biden administration unleashed millions of unvetted illegal aliens into American communities. Oh my goodness. This is a bad guy. I mean, you look at this guy. He's got some type of grill going on. This is the press conference.
Thanks, Chief. On Monday morning at 6:43 a.m., officers from the McLean District Station responded to Difficult Run Park, where they located our victim, Carmen Pooch, deceased, and as the chief stated, she was suffering from multiple stab wounds and had been doused in gasoline. Detectives from our Major Crimes Bureau have acted very quickly to process the crime scene, collect evidence, and conduct interviews. Within 48 hours, and emphasize within 48 hours, our detectives were successfully able to identify the suspect, that's 19-year-old Alexis Cadillos Campos, and they learned that he and our victim were known to each other as co-workers and involved in an intimate relationship. We know that Cadillos Campos left work in the early morning hours on Monday. He left work after taking a large fixed blade knife, a pair of gloves, and the water bottle the chief described. He later filled that water bottle with gasoline, and he set off to murder Carmen Pooch. This morning, our suspect was taken into custody for second-degree murder in Maryland. I want to thank our detectives from the Fugitive Squad, the U.S. Marshals Service.
Okay, so there's one woman dead because of one of Biden's dreamers. And then you saw this, the boat that capsized in New York. Listen to this. The captain of a boat that capsized in New York Harbor, killing a mother and her baby, is an illegal immigrant. Yeah, that's right. Manuel Hernandez was in the United States illegally when the 21-foot boat overturned near Liberty Island on August 8th, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Sarah Sanchez and her 5-month-old daughter died, and he was in the country illegally. I tell you, you got to wonder how many people are dead because of illegals in this country. I don't know if we've ever seen a number. I mean, we see the stories like this from time to time, but I don't think I've ever seen, I don't know if it's possible to even put such a number together, but I'll tell you, I'd like to see it. I'd like to know how many people in this country would be alive today if they didn't have the open border. Now, yesterday was one of the greatest primary election days I think we've ever had in a midterm in the United States. It really was. And here in Florida, it was just, Florida is filled with energy right now because of this. It's amazing what's happened. And Ashley Moody, there's some new polls already out. Listen to this. Trump just endorsed Senator Ashley Moody. And now the odds have her a 91% chance of winning the Senate from this lunatic, Nixon, the Democrat socialist who won. This is Ashley Moody talking about Nixon after her victory.
My opponent will be a self-proclaimed socialist that proudly signed up and joined the Democratic Socialists of America. That will be my opponent. And on one side, you will have a candidate that stood up for this state in the face of government crackdown, big government, called out Washington, held them to account, has pressed for accountability when they overreached their power and lied to the American people, always stood for independent and American rights. And you're going to have one side that I'm going to be up against that wants to, and the platform says, defund the police.
Yeah.
Don't fund our military. Open up the border. Non-citizen voting. I could go on and on. I'm sure the law enforcement men and women that are here with us tonight love the position they have on abolishing prisons and releasing criminals.
Oh, yeah, that's a
into our
great one.
communities. We're not making this stuff up. In the state of Florida, who stood strong in the face of big government, you have now a Democratic Party that has put up as their nominee a self-proclaimed socialist who runs a bookstore called the Resistance Cafe. I am not making this up. This is not some made-up fiction TV story. This is the election that will take place in this free state of Florida this November.
You know, what Ashley Moody, this is really an amazing thing with Ashley Moody because, she was appointed by DeSantis to finish out Marco Rubio's term. And historically, when someone is appointed to finish out someone's term like this, they're generally not reelected. They kind of just fade away and they have the title of Senate and then I don't know what they do with that. And usually, and we've seen this happen before in races, usually they're just political hacks that have sucked up to the governor that makes that appointment, right? And she is so strong and so awesome. She's a strong supporter of the Save America Act, and she's going to clean house with this woman. I mean, Nixon is done. And, I was at the end of yesterday's show, I was talking about this. They're trying in the media to act like, oh, there's been this great Democrat socialist victory in Florida. No, the opposite is true. If Vindman would have won, thankfully he didn't, but I don't even know if he really wanted to, tell you the truth. But if Vindman would have won, it would have been an entirely different campaign because Vindman, all he would do would talk about January 6th and Trump, and Ashley Moody, who's very good, would be more on a defensive stance than on the attack like she's doing. And as I was saying earlier in the show, when you're responding to the other side, you're losing. When you're setting the narrative, you're winning. And Ashley Moody is setting the narrative. And you know what? She very well, I'm telling you, Florida is the most important state in the Republican Party, followed by Ohio. She could find herself being the running mate to J.D. Vance when he runs for president. She's very good. She's very strong. She doesn't put up with any crap. And she's calling out this Democrat socialist. And what's going to happen with Nixon, Nixon's going to become the face of Democrat socialism and show how stupid and insane it is. Now, I'll tell you what blows my mind is Coastal Weight Loss Secret, the home of the metabolic reset. And, you know, I was talking yesterday how I went out and bought a new jacket because my jackets, my shirts, they weren't fitting me. I needed new shirts. I needed a new nice jacket. And it's because I've lost all this weight and I've kept it off thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I didn't understand why I kept the weight off without any effort because I really not I just keep it off now. You know, Coastal Weight Loss Secret got the weight off, and I've been, how is it so easy to keep off the weight? And Dr. Zuckerman, he told me, he reset my metabolism. You know, Coastal Weight Loss Secret has helped thousands of patients like you and me over the years, and they've learned a lot that lasting weight loss isn't about finding another diet or a quick fix. It's about resetting and improving your metabolism. And Coastal Weight Loss Secret has created their doctor-developed metabolic reset. And they stand behind this program. They've spent years refining the process, and they've worked with thousands of patients. And I'm one of them, and it's awesome. They've built this program around the science of metabolic health, and it's also set up around the habits and strategies that have consistently produced results for their patients. So give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. Remember, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, they offer virtual appointments. So no matter where you're located, you don't have to go into the office. You can do everything through a virtual appointment. Give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation right now. 561-359-3418. 561-359-3418. That's 561-359-3418. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Call us on hold. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a break and be right back.
Catholicism to us.
Okay, we'll be back in about a minute, guys. About 30 seconds, we'll be back. If you want to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Brian. This is Jeffrey from New York. How are you doing?
All right, New York.
What's going on over there in your part of the woods?
Can you drop the fake accent? Talk normal. Just say what's on your mind. Don't try to walk me down some garden path or be funny. I'm busy here. I don't have time for nonsense.
So you wear a Make America Great Again hat, but you refuse to say America first?
Are you the nutcase that called me earlier? Are you the nutcase that called me earlier?
I was listening. How dare you?
What kind of accent are you trying to do here?
You're a disgrace to MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
Disgrace to MAGA.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you should love me even more, right?
But you won't condemn and say America first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're in Florida.
Listen, your call earlier was a good call, okay? But it's one call per day. I know you're new to the program, and you told me that you're a mental patient, so I give a little leeway to that.
I think you have me confused, sir.
But
I think you're the one who needs mental patient and medicine.
okay, all right. Well, there you go. I'll go and get it. All right, now, oh my goodness. No, these are real people that are listening to the program, guys. These are real people. Oh my! I know it's crazy, but no, they're real people. I tell you, when we're in this election season, I just came across something on X that I got to share with you. If you're on hold, stand by. There's a lot of things that the Democrats are going to pull. And one of their biggest tactics is pretending to be one of us, MAGA. And I just saw that this is one of the traps they're trying to get us involved in. All right, I just saw this on X during the break from something called MAGA Voice, okay? And they got a picture of Derek Chauvin, and they wrote this. Elon Musk, in front of his 241 million followers, calls for Derek Chauvin to be released. It's been long enough. Release Derek Chauvin. They've been trying, fake Republicans, fake MAGA, have been trying to get MAGA people to get involved in this movement to release Derek Chauvin. That's a trap, okay? And it's one of everything they do is trying to get some false narrative going. So they're trying to get a narrative going that MAGA wants Derek Chauvin released from prison. And they're trying to get people like you and me to talk about it and agree with it. Don't fall for these traps, guys, okay? I tell you, you can never trust a Democrat. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, I was going to say this Natalie Harp story, this note thing is it's so unbelievably fake. They're 100% fake. I mean, the media, the left, these guys, they show us who they are every day. And they're going after this hardworking young lady who's doing a fantastic job for Trump. Her story is phenomenal. But listen, to me, they're just, they're miserable, immoral lives. They can't. They've got to bring people down to make themselves feel better. To like dodge the responsibility of all the things that they know they've done wrong, but they just can't admit it.
Well, with Maggie Haberman, Maggie Haberman claiming to have this love note from Natalie Harp to the president that she has obtained. They've obtained it.
Oh yeah.
Why would she take the lie to that level when they haven't printed the letter?
Yeah, they're listen, they'll come up with a napkin again that somebody. Listen, Charlie Manson wrote notes, okay? People write, crazy people write.
That was a
things.
long
You had
time
David
ago.
from
People don't write
Pennsylvania.
notes too much anymore.
Well, exactly. But I'm just saying, they crazy people do crazy things. David from Pennsylvania talked about this poor girl that was, she's mentally ill beyond me. She's psychiatric ward, patient 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you got, and who was the other guy talking about we have TDS because we believe Trump. I mean, look, the note, the bad food from the Abraham. These are recent. The Abraham Lincoln story.
Mm-hmm.
You brought Avenatti with the tapes. We've got Pencil Neck where the evidence is in plain sight. These people, they lie for a living, and guys like Tom from Florida and then the guy from Pennsylvania, they think that we're wrong for believing Trump. Trump is one of the most, to me, Trump represents goodness. He's not perfection, but the intent and the will, to do the right thing, to do what's best for our country, for the betterment of we the people.
What we're
at the same
listen,
time,
they tried to get this narrative going over the weekend about the Lincoln, the starving sailors. That failed. That's over. I haven't seen a story on that in 2 or 3 days. Right? Today's Thursday, and I know I covered it on Monday, maybe Tuesday, but I think just Monday because it was election day. That's gone away. So here these are like trial balloons. They're throwing all the spaghetti at the wall to see what will stick. Now they got this Natalie, and I'm really concerned about Natalie Harp. Her father took his own life, and not only that, she's a cancer survivor, and and she's a young girl, so it makes sense that she's close to Trump and is the father figure in her life. I get that. But, to bring down these lies and this is a worldwide story against someone who's had so much tragedy between the loss of her father and her cancer and all of that. And then to put these pressures onto her, it is so beyond the boundaries of good taste. And what they're doing is sick, twisted, and quite dangerous, frankly. And
no class. I mean, they got zero class, no taste. I mean,
None.
Plumbing. Plumbers often say, hot on the left, cold on the right, and Democrats don't flow uphill. They are so nasty, evil. These people, and I think though with Natalie, I mean, she is close to one of the, she's close to a very good man, the president, and there are other very good. I mean, the cabinet is full of good. Men and women.
Mm-hmm.
She's got an awesome. I think she's got a very good circle.
Well,
a lot of people,
Laura Loomer.
got a good circle around her.
There's a couple things. Laura Loomer has said at least twice in the last 24 hours that she thinks these things are coming from somebody inside the White House. That she's got a lot of enemies inside the White House. That staffers are leaking this. She said it twice. And she said there's a lot of jealousies inside the White House, and a lot of it's directed towards her because she's kind of a gatekeeper.
Yeah, I think Trump. Well, that's not good. But here's the thing. I think when you're when you're basically you're kind of the right hand or the left hand or of the boss. I think that his will, that fight,
Mm-hmm.
that strength from him. I think it strengthens you. When you have to be that, so I think she's got it in her. I think she's a fighter. I think she's going to be like Trump. I mean, if she wasn't around Trump as much, she probably wouldn't get attacked from within. If that is in fact what's happening.
I don't know. I mean, what they've done to her, they're accusing her of being the worst thing a woman can be. They got the scarlet letter on her. They're calling her a homewrecker. They're calling her a lot of things that I'm not going to say. The words. I don't have to say them. And they're also
the left wants that. The left wants that narrative in a major. The left wants that. They want that narrative.
Well, this is what I'm attempting to do today. Is I'm hoping some other people like me will grab onto this Maggie Haberman, who has the nerve to go around. Promoting herself as a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist from the Russia story that's been debunked, and start asking her to produce this letter that she's obtained, this love letter. Let's see it.
Yeah.
And by the way, since it's the actual letter, let's do some testing. Let's see. Let's test the paper, the ink. Let's test for fingerprint. Let's do it.
Let's do the whole 9 yards.
Maybe Kash Patel would offer the FBI lab to do it.
Yeah, this is such a this is the help me I'm sick type. This is what the lights. A restaurant's opening up and they got all the lights going up into the sky around this lady. There's so much. It brings so much attention to her. I mean, just think about it. There's not going to be anything. There's no friggin' note. I mean, they're going to write one. They're going to have somebody probably go to where they, maybe they'll go to L.A. and have some of the homeless people who signed for, to vote.
Let me tell you, if they had this love note, that would have been printed with the story showing the note. That would have, if this note existed and Maggie Haberman had it, she said we've obtained it. That would stop all of the news. That would be a big freaking deal. It would stop the entire news cycle. Would stop. It would stop the world if this and to have this valuable note and say that you're not showing it and refuse to comment on it it doesn't pass that smile test that Steve's always talking about.
Well, when decent people see this type of evil, I mean, I heard, when evil isn't punished, it wakes the righteous. It builds, and then it falls on you like a tsunami.
Well, listen, I got to run for the break.
That's where we're going.
All right, I got to take the bottom of the hour break. Thanks. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. Okay, we'll be back in about 90 seconds, guys. Hang in there. The show has flown by. I can't believe how fast the show's gone by. I mean, we have less than 30 minutes left. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Natalie Harp, in my book, is a very, very special. About 30 seconds, guys. All right, we're back. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, this doesn't happen too often, but every once in a while, there's a story that I just feel compelled to focus on. And this one here is one of them, this Natalie Harp story. And I'll tell you why, you look at everything President Trump has gone through for the country. He's literally taken a bullet for the country, right? You see everything that he's been through and what they put him through, and they still do this garbage, right? And this story that he's having an affair, a lot of times you'll say, well, you don't know, how can we know? And what happens from time to time, when these people are lying and they do interview after interview and they lie and lie, they got to give a little something extra to make the interview a little more interesting. And these pathological liars add things, they make up facts, and then they expose themselves. So all of these lies going on about Natalie Harp and President Trump is 1,000% debunked by the New York Times reporter herself when she says she's obtained the note. There's just no question about it. People don't even write notes or letters anymore. When is the last time you wrote a note to someone? When's the last time you wrote a letter? Probably when you were a child. And so far as, when lovers write, they do it through text and things, I guess, these days, right? But this is actually on a piece of paper. She said they've obtained it. That letter is or note is the most valuable piece of paper that we've seen in years. It's literally worth millions of dollars. It is, because it would be that hot of a story. Because it's proof that there's an affair going on. And they're suppressing it. It was like Senator Kelly the other day. If you remember, Senator Kelly, he said, I played this on Monday's show. One of his constituents is a grandmother whose son is on the Lincoln. He's starving. He's lost 25 or 30 pounds. He said, I've seen the photo. She showed him the before and after photos. But you mean to tell me that he didn't get a screenshot of that and show it to CNN for the interview? It's because it's not true. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. This is Dave from Martin County.
Hey, Dave.
I just wanted to talk about Natalie, the personal assistant. I think this is just another smear campaign. They're picking out circumstantial evidence to try and make it look like there's an affair. The Pulitzer Prize winner, the so-called journalist, she may have a note stating that, you're all I care about. But that doesn't mean anything. She's just a loyalist.
Well, no, she doesn't have a note. She would release the note, right?
I believe you're right. But there may be one note or something that she stated to Donald Trump. If Steve came to Brian Craig, I don't feel well, and Brian Craig said, take the rest of the week off, and Steve King turned around and said, no, you're all I care about, Brian. Does that mean you're having an affair with Steve? Absolutely not. It's
well, no, that'd be a
ridiculous.
weird thing. That sounds gay. That sounds gay. You're all I care about.
Yeah, and the Abe Lincoln story is also another trap set by the propaganda press. I believe the propaganda press is looking right at this story, this Natalie story, and all they're trying to do is see the reaction of the White House and then say, oh, it's true. The same thing with the Abe Lincoln story. They spread this story that we're not able to feed the people on the Abe Lincoln. We're not able to pull up a supply ship and offload food all of a sudden and keep these personnel. I believe they want the White House to show images of those personnel on the Abe Lincoln and then turn around and say, hey, you can't do that. You can't show images of personnel on a warship.
Whatever. They dropped the story. There have been no follow-ups on that story for days now. The Lincoln. It's gone.
Yeah.
You know, listen. This is what I'm doing. I'm calling out the New York Times, and I can only hope that people out there listening can share today's program with others, so we can get other people like me calling on Maggie Haberman to produce this note that she's suppressing. I want to see it.
Yes.
That's how confident I am.
I agree. I think the Abe Lincoln story, the White House is not biting on the trap. They're not going to do it, and that's what it.
Absolutely. All right, well, listen,
they're
thanks.
Looking for.
I appreciate the call.
Take care.
All right, you take care, too. Great caller. Great points, great caller. And I'll play the rest of her comments. I'll start it from the beginning. This is Maggie Haberman, who won the Pulitzer Prize for the Russia hoax, okay? And in the beginning, she's talking to the note. This is on Democracy Now! She was a guest on Democracy Now!, which is a left-wing program.
The people who the president took with him, and there may have been others, but these are the ones we know about. The White House has refused to answer any questions about any of this, were Natalie Harp, who is his ever-present aide, who is known as the human printer, as Jonathan and I described at length in Regime Change, that, you know, she alarmed the Secret Service during the campaign because she left him these adoring letters in his personal spaces, in his private quarters, one of which said, "You are all that matters to me." She prints out pieces of good news for him and searches on the internet for information he wants to see. She is an alternate channel for reaching the president.
And how do you know about that note, "You're all that matters to me," that she left for Trump?
We obtained it without getting into more detail.
So
we've obtained it without getting into more detail. But they won't show you the note and won't tell you how they got it. Give me a break. Let's see what else she has to say.
You write extensively about Natalie Harp and Regime Change. Tell us more about her and why you think Ossoff's raising this and her name is being raised at this point, and what it meant for her to be one of the few people on this third secret plane with him.
I'll work backwards. Natalie Harp is essentially a body person, for lack of a better way of putting it. But
yeah, now this thing, a body person. This is every president. This is a job. Every president has a body man. A body man. And they call them that. In this instance, it's a pretty girl, but they all have them. A personal assistant, a valet, a secretary. They all have them. And she just said it.
She is, I described her as something like a human binky a couple of days ago, and that really is what she is. You know, he describes her, as we report in the book, to staff as, you know, somebody who loves him as much as his wife and children. And he would say to aides, "You'll all go off and make money. You know, she's never going to leave me." And we don't know exactly why, but I'm not surprised that Ossoff focused on this because Natalie Harp is everywhere. She literally is in almost every Oval Office meeting. She was there when Jonathan and I went in to interview the president as a fact-checking interview for this book. And Ossoff, I believe, was trying to get a reaction, and he did. And the White House bit, and he was obviously making an insinuation. It goes further than our reporting. Trump was traveling with other people, but she's a taxpayer-funded staffer. It is not inappropriate to get asked a question about her by a reporter, and the president, all he did was draw further attention to this and how he handled that.
You know, I'd really like to see the FBI send a subpoena demanding that that note that was obviously, if it exists, was stolen from the White House. Are you in pain? Then why haven't you gone to see Dr. Philip Appleton yet? I tell you, I haven't seen Dr. Appleton in a while because I haven't hurt myself, right? He's rid me of all my pain. 7 times he's done it. And one day, Doc, if you're listening, one day I'll hurt myself again and I'll be over there right away. You know, if you're in pain, you do want to go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation's free. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays, and let him tell you how the robotic laser wave pain treatment can rid you of pain like he's done with me 7 times and so many people in this listening audience. It's absolutely amazing. As you grow older, you don't heal as fast. You know, you take a bump, you walk into the wall, you're doing some work, you're out playing some games, or tennis, paddleball, pickleball, golf, and the next day you're hurting, that's not a part of growing older. You don't have to live in pain. And with the robotic laser away pain treatment, there's no shots, no pills, no surgery, no shots, 100% painless. You don't even feel the treatment when it's happening, and there's no downtime. And it works on every pain I've ever heard of. Call Dr. Appleton and say bye-bye to your pain too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. We are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking great after yesterday's huge rally. A little bit of a pullback today on profit taking, but one of the largest rallies we've seen for gold and maybe in history yesterday, after trading in a range of $4,324 all the way up to $4,525. Gold closed near the highs at $4,521.90. That was up $188.50 the ounce. That on news that the Fed was actually selling or creating more debt by buying 30-year bonds to try to push the interest rates lower and creating more early-term debt by doing so. And the markets responded rather wildly upon that news, gold running up dramatically after that, which is really detrimental to the dollar falling quickly. And as people around the world are starting to say, hey, maybe we don't want this 30-year debt of America at these interest rates. And so they're trying to support the bonds, but that usually doesn't work very long. Anyways, that being said, silver gained $3.68 at $66.89. Platinum was up $106 at $1,816. And palladium gained $52 at $1,320. So you got a $188 rally on gold in one day.
Wow.
This morning, we're looking at gold right now, $4,466.60. That's down $55.30 after trading at a low this overnight at $44.50 and a high of $45.28. So right now, silver down 69 cents at $66.20 the ounce. Platinum down $22 at $17.94. and palladium down $17 at $1,303. So not bad considering the big run yesterday.
Absolutely. And, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. So if you want to call, remember, no matter where you're located in the world, you can do your transactions over the phone and through the mail. The number is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop in. He's in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And when you go into the Bank of America building, William Youngman is in the lobby directly across from the bank. And online, you can find both his address and phone number, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngman, we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Take care. Take care. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I wanted to play this clip because I don't want you guys to think I'm avoiding this, and this is important. This is Darlene Graham at the debate the other night. And remember now, Darlene Graham is in this runoff, right?
National security question as well. Senator, are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States? If so, why?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Are Taiwan and the South China Sea national security issues for the United States, and if so, why or how?
I'm just going to be honest here. I'm not on national security. I'm not that informed on national security, so.
Now, by the way, I want to respond to what happened here with her, and I'm not going to say it's a good thing that she said this, but I'll explain. Those boos in the audience, okay? I went to one of these congressional debates once with Steve, and the way it works is each campaign gets a certain number of tickets. And what happens is the people that are there for each candidate boo on cue for the opponent and clap on cue. So make no mind about the boos. The boos are from her opponent's people that he gave the tickets to.
On national security, I'm not that informed on national security, so. But I do support the military. My brother was in the Air Force for 33 years, so I will do everything I can to support the military. My dad was in the Army. I'm not a polished politician up here. National security is not my thing. Not my area of expertise, but I do support the military.
Congressman, I'll give you a chance to respond, and I'm sure he recognizes that.
Taiwan's a definite ally. And
okay, so that was in the Newsmax debate the other night. And that obviously, I'm not saying that Darlene Graham, that was her finest moment, because it wasn't. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care. This is what I care about, is having a senator who will vote with Trump 100% of the time. In particular, the Big Beautiful Bill. The Big Beautiful Bill should have been passed months ago. We've got one rhino, John Thune, who's stopping it. And the guy she's running against, Nelson, she said in that same debate that he was a holdout in the House on the Big Beautiful Bill. Can you imagine? He was holding out on the Big Beautiful Bill vote. You want to send this guy to the Senate? I'm not saying it's a good thing that she didn't have an answer ready. You can have a good answer even if you don't know what you're talking about, if you're highly skilled. She's not a highly skilled politician, no doubt about it. I get it, okay? But I would rather have someone there who is going to vote with Trump, is going to vote in favor of the Save America Act, than some obstructionist rhino who's in bed with the Republican establishment political machine, who's running for the Senate to be an obstructionist to Trump and not be a Republican who's loyal to President Trump and the Republican Party. Because if she doesn't win this, we may not get the Save America Act passed in January. If she does, I know we will. Her brother's last conversation with President Trump the night he died on the phone was about passing the Save America Act. That was his dying wish. Okay? And that was not a good moment. I'm not telling you it was, but she's not a professional politician. I get it. And this isn't really, I know they want to say this is nepotism. I don't think it's nepotism. You know, if you want the MAGA agenda through, we want her. You know, it's so important to have a new Republican leader in the Senate after the election in January. Who it's going to be a Republican no matter what in South Carolina, but what we've seen is we get these rhinos like Thune, and even though we've got the majority, we can't get any legislation. I mean, think about it. We control every branch of government, the executive, the judicial, and the legislative branch. We control all three branches of government, and we can't get our legislation through. Why? Because we have rhinos in the Senate. And they feel that they are on a mission to stop any and everything that President Trump does. So what's going to happen with Darlene Graham is she's being confronted out in public, and you're going to see these all over television. So, and there was one other one. They're going to start going up to her and asking her questions to try to discredit her. Somebody asked her about abortion yesterday, right? This is a campaign tactic.
I actually had a question for you, if that's okay. What is your opinion on abortion? And are you for at conception? Are you for, like, just kind of where you stand on the whole issue?
I support the 6-week South Carolina abortion.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, and what about before that? What if they were to do a completely abolition of it?
I don't know. Let me think about it. Yeah.
Okay, so now they're trying to say she's pro-choice. And what their whole tactic is going to be, see, these are rhinos going after her, right? Rhinos are going after her, not liberals, right? Are going after Darlene Graham. And yeah, she's not a skilled politician. And usually when somebody gets to that level, they're highly skilled and everything, and she's not. And, and this is what we're going to have. And, whatever. But we need her vote. And her vote is in favor of whatever Trump wants passed. And that's what we need. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian. How are you today?
All right. Oh, hold on a second, Joe. I got to tell everyone about Sloman Central Air Conditioning. You know, listen, if you have an air conditioning that's running all day, you shouldn't do that. You need a new air conditioning, okay? If you have rooms in your house that are hot all day, no matter how much your AC is running, you need a new AC. And Sloman Central Air Conditioning has a deal that's so incredible, there's no excuse. This is the best deal I've ever seen on an air conditioning in Florida. Listen to this. With Sloman's, you can get a high-efficiency 5-ton, 18-SEER system that uses R454B refrigerant for just $59.99. Wow, great deal, huh? With 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Your system comes with a 5-year bumper-to-bumper service plan, which includes annual system maintenance, filter replacement, and refrigerant, so there's no annual maintenance fees. And you'll also receive the Sloman Shield home security system installed with 5 years of professional central station monitoring included with your AC package. Give Sloman's a call right now, 561-217-COOL. That's C-O-O-L. 561-217-COOL. 561-217-COOL. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, this Natalie Harp is not a disgrace by any stretch of the imagination. But this John Thune is.
Oh,
he is a disgrace.
Pig.
I wonder how big of an envelope does this guy get for just holding up the legislation that everybody wants, including his political party and President Trump. It's really a disgrace. This litany of these 24-hour or 12-hour stories that the left keeps popping out there. I wonder if the public, even on the left, is getting a little tired of this because nothing sticks. It's the same repetition every day.
The attention span, the attention span's so low now, right? Like the people have already forgot about the Lincoln story, the starving sailors on the Lincoln, right? And now they've moved on to Natalie Harp. And I know some of you may think, well, why are you giving this Natalie Harp thing so much publicity? It's the lead story for 2 days in all the mainstream media, and it's not that I'm giving it publicity; I'm exposing it. And the New York Times is discrediting their own reporting. They have a love note that they're not going to say anything about or show anyone. Give me a freaking break.
Well, that would have been nothing but the love note around the clock for 24 hours.
but their stories, they never go anywhere. And even with the limited attention span that people have now, this is getting kind of ridiculous. This throwing the story, throw it against the wall, see if it sticks, and nothing sticks.
Nothing sticks. Listen, I'm up against the end of the show, but good points. I agree. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim from Michigan.
Yeah, Jim.
How you doing, buddy? I just wanted to talk about the races in your state.
We only have about 30 seconds, so you got to be quick.
Oh, well, I'll just call back.
It'll be tomorrow because the show's going to be over. Say what you got to say.
Oh,
my God. Turn down.
How do you feel about the races?
We want. I feel very good. Byron Donalds is awesome. We did very well in Florida.
Trump appointed races lost.
President Trump had at least 26 endorsed victories yesterday. At least 26. He can't win them all. So he lost a couple around the country. So what? He won at least 26 yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Losing 3 out of 20. He lost 3 out of 20 out of 29. He won 26 and lost 3. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, but every endorsement isn't made fair. I mean, it's not.
No. Hold on. He made 29 endorsements and won 26.
Right.
That's good, right? All right, enough. Oh, my goodness. He must be smoking some of that Colorado weed. That's not the answer he was expecting. That's what happens when you get your news and information from MS Now. All right, tomorrow is Friday. That means Open MAGA Mike Friday, open phones. I'm Brian, Steve Kane Show. See you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Oh, my goodness. He didn't know that. I'll just say this about that caller. That's how the media operate, right? He's watching the liberal media, and he thinks Trump had big losses yesterday. He won 26 out of 29 races on Tuesday. How's that not incredible? And one of them, Corey Mills, he told the guy to drop out, and he wouldn't get out of the race. Come on. So he really only lost 2. He's got a pretty high record. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the program. Make sure you subscribe, okay? And if you guys could do me the favor of liking the video, I'd really appreciate that. Please like the video, because when you like the video, you get the video recommended to people that have not yet found the channel. So make sure you like the video before you go, all right? My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.